Yo, yo, yo. You know what it is. It's Tuesday night, 8:30, 8:36 technically. However, still time for the Hockey Happy Hour coming at you on A2D Radio. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We got Flyers live reactions. We're about 5 or 6 games away from the season finale, depending on the team, obviously. A lot to talk about playoff-wise. We got teams clinching. We have some epic wildcard battles going on right now with some teams that are still in the hunt and some that could possibly still be in the hunt with some games in hand. So we're gonna discuss Eastern Conference playoff predictions. We're gonna discuss Western Conference, well, not necessarily predictions, but the pictures and how they're forming. We're gonna discuss some of the potential matchups. Got a lot to talk about. So hit that like, hit that subscribe. Let's get at it. Let's go.
Oh my God! I'm embarrassed! He's flying!
Welcome in. It's almost time.
Brand new edition of the Hockey Happy Hour live on A2DRadio.com. I am Matt Sensuti along with the Darkwing Brian Daly.
April 17th, baby. April 17th.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Be here before you know it. And the one and only broken one himself, Mr. Rob Povia.
Very nice.
And Mr. Broadway, Mr. Blue Shirt, Mr. Switzerland, Mr. Brad Ryer.
Mr. Switch.
I'm just going to keep calling you from
That was
that.
from last week. That was
Oh,
from
right.
last week.
I forgot about that. I'm like, why is he calling him?
He anointed himself.
He took
So
the neutral party on the poll question last week.
since he took a neutral stance from this point forward, he's Mr. Switzerland. It's just got to be.
Yeah, that's okay. I've been called a lot worse than that.
Is that
that's one of the better nicknames, actually.
Yeah, I'm assuming that you've been called worse at several Yankees and Rangers games and such like that.
Well, no, actually, I never had a problem when I'm at Yankee games or at Ranger games.
Oh, it's outside at like some other places. Gotcha.
Right, yeah. It's everywhere else.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, Hockey Happy Hour. Live reactions going on right now to the Flyers and the St. Louis Blues. And, gentlemen, we actually have a cool little feature that we're going to bring out to everybody. And that feature is we're going to have a scoreboard available to it. Now, not going to be like that. It's going to be behind us. But still, we're moving up in the world, boys. We got ourselves a scoreboard now. Isn't that nice?
It's great when the production team combines efforts into a gloriousness thing like that.
That's pretty cool, though.
But what makes me feel good is that they came and they wanted our input on the scoreboard. They just didn't just put it up there and just like, here, this is for you guys. That's what makes HUD better than any other station out there, because it's not just a production team. It's a production team and the on-air talent. We all work together and we all do our thing to make everything perfect for you guys.
Absolutely. And besides live reactions to the St. Louis Blues and the Flyers, which is currently 1-0 for the Blues, and we're getting into the last minute of the first period, we are brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy. The one and only Dr. Paul Vidal. If you got any aches and pains that are bothering you or troubling you, then give the doc a call. Make an appointment at www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com and have his team of highly trained professionals over there in Cherry Hill or Burlington, New Jersey take care of you, because you don't want to be dealing with any kind of stingers or what have you, especially if you got to go to work and it's physically demanding and everything. Go get that taken care of and let the doc and his team take care of you. And our poll question for tonight: brought to you by Baggio's Bread. If you got any big celebrations coming up or you want to have a nice family dinner or what have you, Baggio's Bread is the place to go. Located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, home of the best stuffed breads, tomato pie sandwiches, cutlets, and meatballs. Mention A2D Radio for 10% off of your in-store purchase. And listen, with the way that the prices keep going up around this world right now, 10% is a lot to save on right now. So go to Baggio's Bread, use the A2D code, and get yourself some good food for the family or for whatever celebration you might be having. Okay, then. Poll question for tonight is: a surprise team will make the Stanley Cup playoffs. As Brian mentioned in the intro to the show, there are some very hot and heavy contests going on for the wild card spots in both the East and the West. And it's looking like it's going to come down to the wire. So, gentlemen, do you believe that there will be a surprise team, or do you think that it will pretty much just be what it is right now? You have the floor, gentlemen. Take it away.
I'll jump in first. I'll cannonball in on this one, and I'm going to say there's going to be one surprise playoff team. It's going to be one. So I'm going to agree to the poll. To me, it's the Calgary Flames. They're playing all right hockey of late. They've picked up some big wins when they needed to, and it's just they've been meh all year. This is a team that's, to me, is completely unperformed. However, they're still in the playoff picture. I don't think Winnipeg's really been all that great the last 10 games. And let me just confirm that. Okay. Where did they go? There they are. Winnipeg is 5-5 in their last 10 games. Calgary is 6-2-2 in their last 10 games. So Calgary is coming on a little strong here, knowing that there's a lot on the line here. Nashville could be an interesting team as well to keep an eye on. And I'll get a little bit more into why later on in the show when we actually discuss the Western Conference here. They're interesting because they still have Winnipeg and Calgary left on their schedule. However, they also have 2 games in hand. So if Winnipeg doesn't get their shit together, they could be on their way out. Looking at Nashville coming in, and they're 5-3-2 in their last 10. So this Western Conference isn't set yet. We got a few teams that are starting to clinch, but nothing is set in stone. The East is a little more set in stone, but I think we're going to see a lot more. I think we're going to see the surprise team, and they're going to come out of the West.
Interesting, Brian. Interesting, because my surprise team all year has been the Sens, but they're 6 points off the pace with 5 to go. I mean, not officially eliminated, but when you trail by more points than games remaining, you're eliminated in my book. Florida is not a surprise team, but I'm going to stick in the Eastern Conference, Brian, and say that the Sabres are that surprise team. They're 5 points behind Pittsburgh with 7 games to go. They got 2 games in hand on most of the competition. Ironically, the two, Sabres and Florida are playing tonight. I'm going to check in and see what that score is real quick.
1-1.
1-1. Thank you, Brad.
I'm watching the game.
Nice. Excellent. That's a good one to tune into. Get that cross perspective.
Yeah, well, the Devils are ahead of the fabulous Penguins 4-0. Isn't that too bad?
Well, the Penguins are just sliding away out of that playoff picture.
Ottawa is
couldn't have happened to a nicer team.
2-1.
That's a shame.
I think the Sabres, depending on what happens tonight, they have a real good shot to make the playoffs because of those games in hand, and they could easily catch either Pittsburgh or the Islanders there. So I'm going to agree with the poll and rock out with the Buffalo Sabres.
Sure, that's something Maddie loves hearing.
Yeah, absolutely, Rob. I thought I knew you.
Now we can't be friends no more.
No,
you backed the Buffalo Sabres. This is why I put this comment in front of your face.
Oh, he's been cut off.
You really can't see me.
No, you can't.
Well,
he doesn't even want to hear me.
I could do some illicit shit underneath here, and you wouldn't even all know.
So Prism saying Rob's setting or Robo setting Stars records past Mo, then passes 100 points, and then the Hawks super shitty. Good week.
Yeah.
Anaheim's falling back in that second to last spot, so I'm good, and I'm hearing rumors of Dallas Eakins being out as head coach. So let's go.
What's up, Swoopy? Saying, "Ayo, my boys, what's the deal? How you all doing this evening?" I'm fine. I'm just enjoying watching the Flyers slowly but surely try to secure a nice draft pick. So
I'm all right. It's freaking hot down here.
I mean,
Hot in Jersey today too.
It
It's
was
75
hot.
today in Jersey.
We broke 80.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
It was nice though today. Nice 75. See, if it could stay like that, it'd be perfect.
Yeah, I think we're pushing 90 tomorrow.
Nice.
Oh boy.
Are you happy you're coming back up north?
A little bit. I mean, to be honest with you, the weather's not really much different. I mean, I think it's like a 5 or 6 degree difference between you guys and me down here. So it's not crazy.
Still though, man, that 75 is pretty nice.
75 is perfect. That's perfect. If I had to live in, if I could pick my weather for the rest of my life, it'd be 75 every day. That's perfect.
All right then. So, for me, in terms of surprise teams, currently right now, Swoopy's throwing out also throughout the Stars. I'm going to say though a surprise team currently in a wild card race. You know, if I'm going to say a team that I think could have a shot of surprising everybody and maybe, sneaking into a playoff spot, low key isn't having a bad go of everything right now because unfortunately, in an 82-game schedule, you have a habit of going through your peaks and your valleys every now and again, and sometimes you do it at the worst possible time. But, call me crazy.
Crazy.
Watch somehow, some way, Ottawa gets in. Watch Buffalo just miss out and watch teams slip up just enough. Seriously, with the way Florida has gone streaking lately, yes, they're on an uptick now, but is that going to hold out for the last few games of the season? If they go on a bad tick and Ottawa all of a sudden surges up, that's the same thing with the Sabres too. If both of those teams surge up at the right time, we might not see the Florida Panthers make the playoffs this year. And boy, what a slap in the face and a kick in the balls it would be at the same time to the Florida Panthers, especially after last year.
Well,
what about the Islanders? They're no shoo-in for the playoffs right now either.
That's a good point.
And neither are the Penguins.
No.
The Penguins are just getting smoked tonight by the Devils. It's 4-0 after 2 periods. I mean, they're playing tonight the same way they did against the Rangers. They're giving up 6 million opportunities. The Devils should really be ahead, probably 8-0 at this point. I've watched a little bit of that game too, and it's been ugly.
Yeah, that comes to Florida, Ottawa, and Buffalo having to do their end and win the games at their end.
Right.
But yeah, you're absolutely right, Brad. These guys, Islanders and the Penguins, they have to handle their business, and they're not.
The Islanders and the Penguins are giving the Kitty Cats and the Sabres and the Senators all kinds of opportunities here to get back in it. I mean, Pittsburgh loses almost every night. The Islanders are at best playing 500. I mean, they're giving whoever wants it can really grab it.
Yeah, I mean, the
problem is that you're right about the putty tats. I call them the whatever, but they seem to go on tears and then they go on losing streaks, and it's hard to figure. The Sabres, it seems like every time they get to a situation where they have to win, and the pressure's on, they lose. When they start falling behind and looking like they're going to be irrelevant, then they come back and win. So what's it going to be with Buffalo?
I'll say
Big
this
one
though,
tonight though. It's a tall task for them to win in Florida, but if they can pull this one out, it's 1-1. This guy Levi that they got in net now, he's been unbelievable. You had to see him Friday night against the Rangers. The Rangers in the second and third period completely dominated that game, and this kid came up and was making saves literally standing on his head. I don't know how the Rangers didn't score more than 2 goals in that game, because this guy was all over the place, and apparently he's been playing well since he came up. So I think they finally found themselves a good young goalie.
It's 2 games. I'm going to hold my opinions to myself for now until I see a little bit more out of this kid.
Well, let's see him win. Let's see him win tonight.
I will say this:
he made a save in the second period that was unbelievable, guys, sliding across. He just before the period ended, he made a save that was just ridiculous. Levi, I'm talking about.
I will say this: if Florida winds up, if Florida ever was to change its name to the Putty Cats, then there needs to be an expansion and put one more team in Florida and call them the Jacksonville Tweeties. And that would just complete it perfectly. And Tampa would still kick their ass every year.
Well, listen, I call them the Putty Tats because they don't play like Panthers. They play like Putty Tats.
They do. They do.
Sometimes they play like Panthers, but then they play like Putty Tats. They play no defense at all. I'm kind of hoping that it's not them that make the playoffs, because they'll have no chance against Boston. Boston will score a zillion goals against them.
Yeah, even Paul Maurice has noticed it, and he went off on the team a few days ago, and he was saying they're playing like little bitches. I believe that was the quote.
They are. They're playing terrible defensive. They play no defense at all, that team. They're constantly trying to score. I
may have been talking. I think it was Preds that I was talking to. It was either Preds or it was Dylan, and I was talking to them, and they were saying that, and I totally agreed. Letting go of Andrew Brunette was the worst thing the Panthers could have done, because they were rolling on all cylinders under Andrew Brunette, and his system was working. They all bought in. I have no idea why they would have let him go. The team looks so different under Paul Maurice, and it's relatively the same roster. They haven't really made much changes. The biggest change obviously was Jonathan Huberdeau for Matthew Tkachuk, but even Matthew Tkachuk's not playing his typical game. I think he's having an off year.
Yeah, he hasn't been great.
No, he's not the same player he was in Calgary, and a lot of people say Huberdeau is not playing great in Calgary either, but a lot of players aren't buying into Daryl Sutter's system, and he's probably going to be gone at the end of the year, regardless of if they make the playoffs or not.
I think he's gone no matter what. Too many players don't like him.
Yeah, Kadri's one of them.
Yeah, you can't fire the whole team. So,
but since with the Panthers, they're a point out, and they are it's looking, I think, 6-4 in their last 10 with a 3-game win streak. They could do it, but they have to rely on not just. They obviously have to take advantage when the Islanders or the Penguins lose, but they got to handle their business. And to me, they've been fairly inconsistent all season long. They should be a playoff team.
That's the problem, Brian. They don't play. They play no defense. The Penguins are basically giving this thing away. I think the only win they've had in the last couple of weeks was against the Coyotes. They're getting slammed almost every night that they play. So, and they're giving Florida every opportunity to make the playoffs, and it's like, and Florida doesn't. As I said, they're acting like Putty Tats instead of Panthers right now.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous, and I kind of hope another team sneaks in. I'd love to see Buffalo sneak in and embarrass the hell out of the Penguins, embarrass the hell out of the Florida Panthers, and maybe sneak in to a point where they catch the Islanders. Wouldn't that be great? If both the Islanders and the Penguins fell out, and maybe Florida and Buffalo snuck in, that would be just wonderful.
Islanders, you're now the third best team in New York.
Oh, they are, no question.
Okay, so question, gentlemen. So the Capitals are going to miss. And so say if the Penguins miss too, do you think that both those organizations start to officially just hit the reset button where they start to look at maybe moving out contracts, maybe start to thinking, all right, maybe it's time we start restocking the shelves a little bit now? Only reason I say that is because sometimes when you miss a playoff berth, you're going on your down slope, which both teams have been on for a little bit now. Not to say they haven't had great seasons still. They have. Do you think any of the organizations try to get ahead of the curve here and say, all right, let's restock the shelves, since it might be a little bit harder for us to stay competitive in the division?
No, I'm going to jump in and tell you no on both accounts.
Okay.
They had the Capitals still have Alex Ovechkin, and they're going to make sure that they remain competitive so he can break Gretzky's record. And they're going to keep the players. They're going to keep all their players around, and they're going to try to contend every year for Ovechkin. And the same goes for Crosby. The Penguins are not going to flush the team down the toilet and trade Sidney Crosby. Okay, they're going to want Crosby to retire as a Penguin, and the same goes for Malkin. They're not going to trade Malkin either.
Oh well, they're not going to be traded,
and they're not going to trade, and they're not going to get rid of Letang. They're going to continue to try to build around them, try to find a young core to take the pressure off of them, and I think that's what's going to happen. In the Capitals' case, they have a legitimate excuse. I mean, Wilson missed half the season. The center missed half the season. Now I'm forgetting his name.
Backstrom,
yeah. Backstrom missed half the season. They have a legitimate excuse. Okay, the Penguins have no excuse. Okay, there's nobody injured on that team. They're just not good enough right now. And Hextall has not exactly been doing a very good job of putting some good young players around him either.
See, I 100% agree with you with Washington. They're going to try to keep them afloat, for Ovi's, pursuit of Gretzky. But see, the Penguins, yeah, Crosby's going to retire a Penguin, but they were already considering moving Malkin or letting him walk last offseason. I think him and even Chris Letang, who might even be maybe an earlier retirement scenario than per se going to another team, I could see them moving away from those two players and getting younger around some of the young talent they have. I mean, Jake Gensel is, a fabulous player. What is he, like 27, 28?
Yeah, he's in his prime right now still.
Yeah.
Here's the problem
so you
with
can
that,
feature him more.
Rob, here's the problem with that.
Yeah.
They both got re-signed last year to 4-year contracts. Okay? They're making a pretty penny. They're literally untradeable at this point.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I don't see. I mean, who's gonna take any of these guys with the contract that they're making?
Malkin got
the money they're making.
Yeah, he got a 4-year this past offseason. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
then
this particular
maybe not.
offseason, the salary cap is only going to go up $1 million.
Right.
Okay, nobody's going to be able to afford to get him.
Right.
To get any of those guys. So the core three that I'm talking about. Okay, they're not going. If they're not going anywhere, they're going to continue to try. They're going to try like heck to throw in to get some decent players. Probably trade some draft picks. Try to bring in some good players to surround themselves and try to make one more run with Crosby, Malkin, and Letang. Now,
fair point.
In 24-25, that's going to be different because that's when the salary cap is expected to go up $3 million. Okay, now and that's going to be there's going to be a big difference. And I think that all three of those guys, their no trades all end after 3 years. Their no trades end. Like they can be traded year 4 because they're all signed for the next 3 seasons. So after 2 seasons, then I could see them start looking around. But I think this season, next season, they're all in, and that goes for both of them.
I mean, I agree with Pittsburgh for the most part. I don't see any of those core 3 guys from the Penguins ever going anywhere. I think if Malkin was going to go anywhere, it was going to be this past offseason. And he re-upped. I think those guys are going to be Penguins for lives. I think they're definitely going to retire in a Pittsburgh uniform, all three of them. Crosby, Letang, and Malkin. So don't be surprised if you see that. They're going to continue to build around them. Now it's just figuring out what guys are expendable to start really putting some thought into filling up the pipeline for the Penguins. I mean, they are getting older. They're going to have to start thinking about replacing some of these guys on the roster. It's as long as this team feels like they can maintain a competitive edge in the Metro, they're going to do everything they can to compete. You know, Jeff Carter's been really good for Pittsburgh since coming over. Obviously, you got Malkin, you got Letang, you got Crosby. Those guys are going to be, obviously, like I just said, Penguins for life. And then you have Jake Kensel, who could be a part of that core moving forward to possibly, you know, gets his team to another Stanley Cup maybe. I mean, Tristan Jarry is still a relatively young goaltender, so you got your goaltender still in place. It's just a matter of replacing some of the older talent that you have on there for younger talent and trying to put some I don't want to say bridge pieces in place, but you got to start putting some younger pieces in place to go with some of these vet guys while you still have them. You know, because Malkin, Crosby, Letang, those are going to be three great guys to learn from. Jeff Carter, another great vet to learn from. These good locker room guys as well. So you gotta get the young guys in now while you still have them over the next 4 years, and then maybe you don't lose that step. Maybe you don't miss the playoffs, but you know they can't maintain this forever, and they're not going to. So it's just a matter of taking those steps now while you're still a competitive team, instead of waiting until the window is completely closed and you have to rebuild for the next 4 or 5 years.
Well, let's take a look at what the fam has to say. Prism was saying that they gave up young guys to get older. They gave up Marino to bring in Petrie. Obviously, the Penguins seemed like they were really in on Marino, and then that trade happened.
That trade worked out well for the Devils.
Oh yeah.
And Prism saying Arizona will always need to reach the cap floor as long as the Yotes are around. Teams will have an out on any contract, which to say that they haven't been the dumpster of the NHL would be a lie. They absolutely have been.
They're a disgrace. They're a disgrace to the NHL, and Gary Bettman is a disgrace as a commissioner to the NHL for supporting this team.
But by the way, there is a group in the city of Glendale that tried to sue and block the construction for an apartment complex that was set to be a part of an entertainment district where the new arena is being built for the Coyotes. And the lawsuit is, I don't know if it's necessarily going to get to court, but it's something that could possibly happen. Just a little update on what's going on over there with the Coyotes and the never-ending roller coaster ride that is them trying to break ground in the city of Tempe, because where they're trying to build is a landfill. So, I mean, it's
how appropriate.
Yeah, they literally are going to take the trash, get rid of it. I do believe it, and it's not going to cost the city any money. It's all going to be a private project funded by the Coyotes owners to get rid of the.
You mean the
trash.
NHL?
Maybe.
I thought the NHL partially owns that team now.
I think they do, but I think they do have a majority owner.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because I don't think they have a. I think the NHL partially owns that team.
They probably do, but I think they did find a majority owner before they left Gila River. Let's see here. Dylan saying, "What's going on, gents? Disagree to the poll. I wish the Sabres would have made it." And
Ain't over
he also
yet.
goes on.
The Sabres just gave up a goal, by the way. The Kitty Cats just scored.
Well, now it is.
Yeah, it's 2-1. Yeah, it's now 2-1 in the third period for them. And by the way, the Devils are just pouring it on the Penguins. It's now 5-0 with 16 minutes to go in the third period.
Well, the Pens they really don't want to be in the playoffs. I mean, I get it. They want to go on summer vacation early. It's tiring.
They don't want to
entering the
get they don't
playoffs.
want to get humiliated by the Bruins, I guess.
Maybe. I
I mean,
mean,
could
that's
you imagine them?
Whoa.
Could you imagine with that defense having to play the Bruins? Oh my
Yeah.
god!
Flyers just had a massive scoring chance on a gorgeous play. Missed Binnett's stick side on Bennington.
Yeah, it was a really good chance. He pulled Bennington out of position for it too, and everything.
Yeah,
Hey guys,
missed
did
the
you
net.
happen to see that goal Lafreniere scored on Sunday against the Capitals?
I did not.
No.
He went through his leg. He stick handled. He put the puck behind him and then through his legs, and then scored a backhander on Darcy Kemper. It was an unbelievable goal.
The finesse in this game is crazy anymore. The talent is just wicked.
I mean, you would expect to see something like that, like on a on a penalty shot or in extra frames. You would never expect to see somebody actually do that in a game. And it was unbelievable, the move he made.
Well,
Go ahead, man.
scoreboard hasn't updated yet, but the Blues did just score. It's Pitlick. Oh my God, it was Tyler Pitlick who scored that. Wow.
Senor.
I don't even think Urson saw that.
I don't think so either. Of course, anyone out there who has been a longtime viewer of the show or a lifelong Flyer fan, you might remember Tyler Pitlick. He did play for the Flyers for a season and a half before he went to Arizona.
He just got behind the defense. Really, not much you can do unless you got a lightning quick glove hand there.
Yeah, I don't think Urson was in the best position either. I think he left a little bit of that net, a little more of that net than he should have open on the glove side. But that was just a great shot by Pitlick.
Yeah. So 2-0 now for the Blues, with about 14:27, at least on my screen, for the second period. Dylan saying Flames have a massive game tonight. If they win tonight, they've tied the Jets for the last wild card spot, and they play the Jets tomorrow night. So Game 7 vibes, Sutter versus Bonus again.
Wow.
Come on, I'm pulling for your boys, Dylan. Let's go. He was that close to wearing their jersey, and I decided I wanted to wear a baseball one.
Pete saying,
by the way, a little update: the Phillies still continue to lead the Yankees 4-0 in the 7th inning.
Okay,
it's freaking hot down here.
I got that update for you.
Let's go.
That was the first
win of the year.
They just might do it.
I mean,
Not
I guess that's
better.
They can't continue to be the only team in the major leagues without a win.
Little rough stuff going on. Nick Seeler right in the middle of that. No big surprise. Flyers go with 7 defensemen tonight.
Interesting.
They got Ronnie Attard up.
Yeah, I saw that. Before the goal came out, I thought the Flyers had some really tremendous. I shouldn't say tremendous. Maybe that's a little too much of an oversell, but had some good scoring opportunities just before that goal came out and before they turned the puck over.
Yeah,
some good pressure, had some good shots in there, some good scoring chances. If I could freaking talk tonight, but I mean, nothing came of it. Actually, wound up scoring a goal the other way. That's kind of a deflating feeling, but you just got to shift at a time.
Often the case when you don't finish, the other team will.
Mm-hmm.
Pete saying evening to everybody. What's going on, Pete? He also goes on to say, agree to the poll. They would be from the West side, so he believes the West will be a surprise team on that one.
That's right, Pete, my boy. Wait, is this a gang sign? Should I not do this? What's sorry?
This is West Coast.
It is.
Anymore.
That's all it means. That's all it means in my head, anyway.
Don,
shut up.
Just don't answer your door if you hear a knock.
Listen, it's getting real sketchy down here. So don't don't even put that juju out there. There you go, Don.
Oh,
Don
boy.
saying, by the way, who would win, the Arizona Coyotes or the Michigan Wolverines?
Ooh,
I
the
actually think the
Wolverines.
Wolverines. Yeah, I think the Wolverines would beat the Coyotes, to be completely honest with you.
Nah, quit. They could never stop. Keller would just kill them.
Yeah, but I will say this: there's a lot of really big prospects in the Michigan program. Though I would not sleep on Michigan beating Arizona. Clayton Keller's only one guy. Outside of that, I mean, Nick Schmaltz is all right. Outside of
No,
that,
they're
they
not.
don't
Listen,
really
I'm
have
not
anybody
saying.
that wows me.
I'm not saying they're good. I'm not saying Arizona's good, but I mean they've got they Keller is really good. I don't know how Keller would have a field day against a college team.
Yeah, that's
Remember,
the thing.
there's a lot of good. They have a lot of good players that are NHL prospects, but I mean there's also a lot of players that aren't NHL players either.
Right.
True.
Right.
You know,
Right.
just kids on the hockey team, and you know when it came down to that, that's where you'd see the difference.
You often see the comparison with lousy teams. Could they beat a collegiate team? Could they beat a minor league team? Of course they can, because especially in the game of hockey, what are the guys? They're bigger. You know what I mean? They're just going to outsize them, muscle them off pucks and things of that nature. Whereas you
Absolutely.
got prospects that are $180 dripping wet.
Yeah. And the one thing that Arizona has that Michigan doesn't is Zach Cassian. I hate the guy. I really do. He's a great guy off the ice, but I hate him on the ice.
Experience, though. Pro experience.
Big guy, physical game, knows how to get under players' skin. He'd really make those young guys work. But, I mean, to Brad's argument, Arizona has a lot of guys that are NHL prospects too, and the only reason why they're up is because they're in Arizona.
Right.
Let's be
Understood.
real. Any other organization, they still be in the AHL. So,
So Swoopy saying, who has been the most disappointing team in the league this year in each of your guys' opinions and why? So, who wants to jump on this question?
Oh, that's really easy. Calgary.
Okay, Brad, since that's really easy, you go ahead.
Calgary.
Calgary. Okay.
Calgary. I mean, they should. There's no way they should have been this bad. I mean, if you want to say St. Louis, okay, you could make that argument too. But
Sure.
Calgary, I was expecting a lot more out of Calgary this year, and they just, I mean, they'll be lucky to make the playoffs, and that never should have happened.
So, Dylan, feel free to send your hate comments to Brad. But interesting.
Sorry, Dylan.
I mean, Calgary did. Unfortunately, Calgary was the victim of, well, Johnny didn't want to stick around, although he went to Columbus.
He did. He did, but his wife wears the skates in the family, not him.
you see, I don't blame Johnny leaving for that, because they replaced these guys. They replaced Kachuk with Huberdeau. They replaced Johnny with Nazem Kadri. So to me, it's the coaching. They just didn't buy into the system. I totally think that Calgary is. I agree with you guys, because Calgary is definitely shouldn't not be battling for a playoff spot right now. They should be in a division spot. Honestly.
Thank you.
Totally agree. However, I will say this. Markstrom has been very underwhelming, and that's another goal for the Blues.
Yeah.
Has been very underwhelming since signing that contract in Calgary after leaving Vancouver. Been very underwhelming, very inconsistent. Flyers aren't buying into, the Flyers. The Flames aren't buying into Sutter. That's the big thing. Kadri has not bought into the system because why? I'm not really sure. Dylan's the guy to ask on that one. He has a better understanding of why Kadri isn't buying into the system, but he's been inconsistent since signing. Huberdeau hasn't been his normal self since signing. So to me, that adds up to it's a system thing, in my opinion.
Justin Falk with the goal for the Blues. They are 3-0. And Frank was saying Wolverines, by the way, on that question. And then Tommy's saying, I agree. I think a surprise team finds a way.
Life always finds a way.
Now, you guys mentioned Johnny Hockey. I think my most disappointing team's got to be the team that he went to in Columbus. I mean, were they going to be a barn burner? No, but they were certainly going to be a playoff team, maybe a team that could make some noise with, infused talent, not 24, 44, and 8, 56 points and third from the bottom in the NHL. I think they got to be the most disappointing.
That was bad, but they also did lose Werenski, though. That was
True.
that was a
huge loss.
Huge loss for them.
Right.
Swoopy is saying Ottawa, most deaf. Prism is also saying disappointing for Ottawa. Had them as a dark horse in an Eastern Conference final team. So he had them actually making the playoffs and going on a bit of a run.
Sure.
Okay.
Good argument there.
It's a good thing they released the bracket challenge after the season ends. So I think Pris would have lost some money on that one.
I will say this though, and I know this is a homer take, and I really don't care, but to me, Anaheim's been a very disappointing team this year. Obviously, this team isn't bought in on Eakins. His voice is doing nothing for them in the locker room. They went out and they got one of the biggest free agents on the market in John Klingberg. Did nothing to improve that defense. Lost Josh Mahar, who I thought was a better player and is having a better season in Florida. So he took a step forward with the Panthers. Losing him was huge. And then this offense just is blah. I mean, Adam Henrique had a solid season. I think he hit 20 goals this year. I'm not even necessarily sure Zegras hit 20 goals this year, but
by the way, Adam Henrique has said that he's going to come back next year.
Good. I want him back.
Yeah, he wants to play again. So
good. I want him back. Zegras he has 22. Frankfurt, Toronto, Troy Terry having an off year. There's just no spark in this team. This roster does have a lot of talent, and there's still room to be improved. But to sit there and be second and last place in the NHL with the worst goal differential in hockey by a lot, is a fucking joke.
Yeah,
is a fucking joke. And it's time to get Eakins out of there. And Verbeek, I trust, made some good moves. Judd Caulfield just traded for. They signed Nestorenko, who already has a goal in the NHL as a since coming over in the Klingberg trade at the deadline. And they just signed somebody else to an entry-level contract. I don't remember who it was, but bringing in all kinds of young talent. Let's go. Let's get a new coach in there. This team.
How about AV?
Well,
he's pretty good with young players. Remember how we put Vancouver together?
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that with the stalled talks between Laviolette and Washington, Lavi winds up a free agent and finds his way to Southern California. That's who I want.
Who doesn't want to go to Southern California?
Yeah.
And who doesn't want Lavi behind the bench?
I cannot believe, though, that the Capitals will let him go. I mean, you're going to blame a coach when you lost arguably two of your best players. Out of your 3 top players, you lost 2 of them.
Brad, I mean, that's just been commonplace in the NHL. In most sports, the top coach always gets it.
Yeah, but you can't. Yeah, but when you lose 2 of your top 3 players for more than half the season, I mean, come on, that's almost not fair.
Oh, it's definitely not fair. But the coach usually gets it.
Do you think the Capitals haven't been trying? You think they also? Oh, wait a minute, I forgot. They also lost Carlson too. How many games did Carlson miss this year? 30?
More than that.
Yeah, when he had that horrible. Didn't he have a fractured skull or something crazy like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, come on. When you're missing that many guys, there's no way you can sit there and blame the coach. Unless you're going to penalize him for what's been going on the last couple of years. It seems like the team's been on a steady decline since Barry Trotz left.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily think Washington is blaming Laviolette for the lack of success they've had this year, because injuries have played a huge part in where the Capitals are right now. But I think that the Capitals and Laviolette aren't seeing eye to eye as far as their contract extension goes. And
Oh, okay. Well,
It's just all that's all that is.
okay, if that's the reason, okay. I mean that's something else entirely. But if it's based on the type of season they've had, I mean, you can't blame them for that. You can't blame the coach when you're missing your best defenseman, two forwards that are on your first line. I mean, that who could possibly compete when you got that many injuries?
I mean, Kuznetsov was ready to jump ship, so
Greg is saying
that would be like firing. That'd be like firing Marty St. Louis. You know, when the Canadians literally lost everybody this year. I mean, they weren't that good to begin with.
Well, I think it's a different mentality, though. I think the Canadians were looking into this season saying, okay, we're going to have to rebuild, whereas the Capitals were still trying to be competitive. So I think it's two different modes of thinking. And when the team is trying to be competitive and they don't get what they want, which is getting into the playoffs, teams tend to make knee-jerk reactions. It happens all the time.
That's true.
I think that it wouldn't be surprising if Lavi got the axe, even if it wasn't his fault. So let's see here.
Fucking
Prism saying Prism saying Klingberg has been lights and day difference in Minnesota versus Anaheim. And
good to see him playing well.
Swoopy saying Anthony said Ducks should trade for Hart. Now we get the obligatory Hart trade comment, so at least we got that out of the way. Thank you, Swoopy, for getting that taken care of.
I mean, I love Hart.
Not getting traded.
I love Hart, but Lucas Dostal is the future in Anaheim. He's the guy. Also, since Rob brought up the name, have you guys heard who the most hated guy in the NHL is right now?
Jacob Trouba?
No.
Is it Bennington?
It is Bennington for his actions over the last couple weeks.
I'm not
Brad
surprised.
Marchand has come out and said, hey, this guy is making me look like a great guy right now.
All right, I'll give him that one. I will give him that. Well done. Well done on that one. One of the few things I can actually agree with him on.
At least he knows he's an asshole.
Right.
Yeah.
At least he admits it.
I don't think he's ever not admitted it.
Oh, that's funny. Let's see. I will say for me, the most disappointing team this year for me, I'm going to throw out the Red Wings. I think that the Red Wings, it looked like they were starting to turn things and go into a better direction. I thought that they might be hovering in the wild card spot by this point, maybe either in the second or first wild card spot or just on the outside, literally nipping at the heels of whoever's there. But they're 77 points and they're well out. So it's like, geez, boy, you guys got some work to do. I mean, Ottawa is doing better than you. And that's bad because you guys were rebuilding well ahead of Ottawa. So it's like, come on. So, yeah, I'll put them down as the most disappointing. I'm sorry, Don. Had to do it.
No, I hear you. At first, I was like, that's interesting. But, yeah, the Red Wings team only 6 points ahead of a Flyers team that's been, looking as a team, as one of the lowest in the league needing to rebuild. So, you're on the opposite end. You're tied with the Capitals that we've been bashing appropriately.
Right. And you would think that, at some point we were going to get one of those seasons where it's like, okay, the Red Wings are starting to show some life here, and like I said, even if Ottawa doesn't make the playoffs this year, at least they showed some life. They showed like, okay, they're going in the right direction because they're making progress. Whereas the Red Wings seem like they're in neutral still and stalling out right now.
Yeah, I mean,
but when you got a lot of talent, especially in the Eastern Conference, specifically, Atlantic and Metro, not everybody can win. Somebody's got to lose.
By the way,
you're right.
I have an update, guys. The Ottawa Senators have just tied it up in Carolina.
Ooh,
7 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the third period.
It'd be a huge win if they could pull it out.
If it had been the Red Wings, they'd probably be down 3-0 right now. So,
I mean, I will say this about the Red Wings. They're a 500 team. I think they're a game above 500 right now, actually. A game above 500. So that's progress from where they were last year. I believe last year they wound up finishing it. It's 4-0 now. This game's getting ugly.
It is all right.
Red Wings are still have a lot of young talent that needs to grow a little bit. They got Dylan Larkin under contract for the next, what was it?
Ooh, that's pretty cool.
8 years. So that's huge. And another good scoring chance there by the Flyers for Hayes.
And then the Blues firing back with Bly getting that goal. It's a Bly.
Another situation where you have a near finish on one end and they take it back and score on you. I mean, what a sweet pass there, the Sammy right across the paint.
Yeah, just under the stick. Into it. Yeah, just under the heel of the stick of Tony DeAngelo. Tony was in position. He just missed it.
Looks like they're reviewing it now. See if maybe he beat the puck in there.
Okay. So see if it's offsides. I think he did.
So
yeah, I see why.
That goal may come down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, bad.
Well, no goal.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty.
So back to 3-0 again.
Yeah. Hey! Back to 3-0. Scoreboard's wrong. Don't worry, it'll correct itself eventually.
So you're saying there's a chance.
hey! Realistically, there's still plenty of hockey left, so the Flyers could find their way back in.
Yeah,
they just need to get one.
Hey, the dreaded 3-goal lead.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Swoopy saying Red Wings are going to be the next dynasty team. They have Stevie Y who built Tampa. They will be great for a long time. They are a young team too. That's true. They are young. But again, though, so's Ottawa to an extent. Yes, they have some veteran pieces. And obviously Claude Giroux definitely helps elevate that team a lot. And actually, he might be the major reason why they're being elevated right now.
No,
but
DeBrincat
didn't hurt at all. But Giroux just being able to pull offense out of his ass right the hell out of nowhere, even in a dead situation where you thought no one could score. Yeah, it's just when you got that kind of talent there on the team, that definitely helps with the young pups and everything. But
he definitely looks rejuvenated this year.
He does. He does. The Flyers absolutely demolished that poor man, and he finally found himself a new home. And you know what? That's on us. We fucked that up. So there you go.
Well, you guys always made it his fault every time something happened.
Oh yeah, that was a very common occurrence. It's right up there with trading Hart nowadays.
Yeah, it was always his fault, and it wasn't really.
Right.
So, can I ask a question real quick here, boys? Is Sammy Ersson still the answer? Just asking for a friend.
No, I think I think we can say that by this point in time. I mean, he's like I said, he's not a bad goalie. Just
not at all.
Just he's the backup goalie.
By the way, speaking of backup goalies, guys, your boy Alex Lyon has won 3 in a row.
Well, good for Lyon. Good for him.
Just wanted to bring that out. And his goals against average in his last 3 games is 1.33.
Well, good for Lyon.
Yeah,
I can't get mad at him.
Yeah, and I just wanted to, bring it up that he's been on fire the last few games, and coincidentally, they've won those games. So we'll see. I mean, I mean, honestly, the team that has the best shot to me to sneak in the playoffs is Florida. They've got the most talent, and they've got and they're a lot younger than Pittsburgh. They're a lot younger than the Islanders, and I think they got more talent than both of those teams. So not necessarily in goal, but just overall.
I gotcha. Pris saying Stutzla has taken the next step. He's already the best on the team in so many areas. I'd say he's better than Brady.
He's really good. Yeah, he's really good.
Stutzla is a stud.
Yeah, he's really good.
And then Swoopy saying Giroux should be a Flame before his career ends. Take a guess why I say this. Was he going to be like Lanny McDonald, have a go-home cup before he retires?
He's already home. What do you mean?
No. I mean, go home like the wrestling term before he finishes up his career.
Oh, okay. I'm following you now. I was about to say he's already home. Ottawa's his home.
Yeah, I know. Ottawa's where he lives.
I'm
but
like, what?
No. I just meant right before he retires, he joins the Flames to win himself a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, but Lanny had a great year that year.
He did, and he was on one hell of a Calgary Flames team that really was the only team that could compete with the Oilers at that time in the Campbell Conference, even though they would lose most of the time.
And they got a gift from Steve Smith.
True.
Which poor Steve Smith will never ever live that down in Edmonton, I'm sure.
Actually, could you imagine though, like at that moment, being Steve Smith, shooting the puck off of your goaltender into your own net? I mean, just imagine that feeling, knowing you're the reason why your team isn't going to win a cup that year. Because, I mean, let's be honest.
Just like that fan in Chicago with the Cubs.
Oh, yeah. Steve, what's his face?
I don't remember his name, but oh, my God. He wasn't forgiven until...
Bartman. Steve Bartman.
Bartman, yeah.
I knew it. Fuck.
Remember his first name. I don't remember his second. His last name. His second. Jesus Christ. I need to go to bed.
We only just started.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm getting tongue-tied every other word. I don't know how to actually talk English tonight. I need to go on timeout. It's been a long day.
Hooked on phonics worked for me.
Not working for me. I need hooked on monkey phonics. If you watch South Park, you'll understand that reference.
Swoopy saying, if Giroux plays in Calgary, he'll play for all the orange and white teams.
Technically, no.
Heavy red and white.
Bingo.
Yeah, red, white, and yellow.
If you want him to play on the next orange and white team, it would be Anaheim. They're orange and white.
Orange, white, and black, like the Flyers, with a little bit of gold in there. Yeah.
Oh, there might be some orange in the Flames.
A little bit.
The logo. A little bit.
I mean,
it's all in the outline.
It is a very bright red, I will say. They when they went back to their old jerseys, it was a very, very bright red. Unlike when they in the 90s, everything had to be extreme, so they tinted the red a little bit darker to kind of blend in with everybody else. Back in the 90s where things were muted, everybody had to have a muted color jersey at that time. Even the Flyers had a darker orange back then.
Yeah, when they got sweaty, that practically looked red.
Yeah.
Well, apparently they're talking about going back to that jersey for next season.
Yeah.
Oh, they're not going to have a whole. They're not going to have a whole new jersey. They're just going to go back to the old design.
It's just a rumor at this point. I don't know exactly what they're planning on, but that's just one of the rumors is going back to that 90s style and having the orange that they have now in that in the chest. So
interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be interesting. I do look forward to seeing what the Flyers do with that. Hopefully they'll do better than whatever the retro reverse slop was that they saddled us with. Hopefully Fanatics doesn't fuck us over. Actually, no, wait a minute. That deal hasn't kicked in yet. Adidas is still in charge until like 2024 or 25, something like that?
I think it kicks in next year.
Oh, it does kick in next year.
This year, yeah.
Okay. Jake's saying, by the way, English is hard, Brian. I understand.
That's why I appreciate you, Jake. Somebody who understands my pain.
Okay, gents. So right now, still 3-0 for the Blues. While we go through that, give our first period sponsor, which is Gleason Bar, located 6700 Mill Creek Ave in Levittown, PA. If you're ever up in the area and you want to get yourself some good food, that's where you want to go, to Gleason's Bar and Grill. And you can actually get yourself a nice little discount if you use the A2D and use promo code A2D for 10% off your order whenever you dine in, take out, you go online at Gleason'sBarandSteaks.com. So, yeah, get yourself some good food over at Gleason's Bar. And with that, while we still have the game going on and we're still doing reactions, I think we can jump on over to the second period, take a look at the Eastern Conference playoff picture, and give a little rundown of that. And the second period of tonight's game is brought to you by All Campus OC. And down in Ocean City, New Jersey, John Coyle, the man, the myth, the legend himself, who runs the rant booth for A2D Radio, has that awesome shop down there in Ocean City. He's given 20% off of everything in the store, including hats, shirts, to all of the subscribers for A2D. So get subscribed up, head on down to Ocean City, and get yourself some nice gear from your team and wear them with pride. And say hi to John while you're there.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes.
Just real quick.
Yes.
One thing I'm doing as soon as I get back to New Jersey is getting something with fucking pork roll on it. I miss it so much.
Amen.
Remember, though, if you go to North Jersey, it's Taylor ham.
No, it's not. It says pork roll in the goddamn package.
Yeah, it's pork roll.
It does. It does, though. It doesn't say Taylor ham. Ham is ham. Pork roll is pork roll. It actually says pork roll on the pack.
Okay.
Taylor is a brand.
Pork roll was invented right here in Trenton, man. Case pork roll, man. That goes back, like I'm talking early, pre-century.
By the way, if you're ever in that area and you go to Gleason's Bar, get to Trenton. It is a cheesesteak with pork roll on it, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it. I can't wait. Okay, let's continue.
Ted,
I just had to get that out there.
Ted, all campus. All campus.
I think they have their own little boardwalk series hats for the Phillies this year from 47 brand. If I read that correctly, so definitely check them out. They look pretty sweet, actually. One of them I was a real big fan of. I have to get John to send me one.
Nice. Okay, gents, so let's dive into the Eastern Conference playoff picture as the second period does come to a close. And obviously, we'll pick it back up when the third rolls back around. But in the meantime, let's take a look at the Eastern Conference playoff picture, and let's give some insights here to what we're seeing. And obviously, we've been talking about the wild card race and how those races are currently still going down and looking like they're going to go down to the wire. Right now in the hunt, Ottawa, Buffalo, Florida. Ottawa with 80 points, Buffalo with 81 points, Florida leading the field with 85 points. All three of those teams. We talked about what surprise team might pop out of those teams as well. Pittsburgh and the Islanders, they're still the two wild cards right now with 86 points and 87 points for the Islanders. Looking at this wild card race and looking at the two wild cards, I got to ask you guys, do you see any one of these teams, even if, say, one of them gets into the playoffs, do you see them making any kind of noise, or do you see Pittsburgh or the Islanders doing anything, or do you think that they're both just first-round outs and the three teams in the hunt, they're just going to be first-round cannon fodder as well?
I'll start off. I mean, I'm going to look up what the season series is, and that'll really dictate my point here. But I'm still sticking with who I answered for the poll, right? If the Sabres could sneak in, they got a lot of good goal scorers on that team and get some nice goaltending, tidy defense. And, there's always the President's Trophy curse. And you're talking about a team that, when we get to the shootout, I'm going to talk about the great things that, the Boston Bruins have accomplished this year in terms of their, just historic season. But to get back to the question, I think Buffalo could give them a run for their money. I know it seems far-fetched, but I'm going to see how they've matched up so far this year. This is my hunch.
Last time they played, it was 7-0 Boston in Buffalo.
Yeah, there's been
TV a couple of weeks ago.
There's been two whitewashings, and they've been the closer contests, both 7-0 and 7-1. On December 31st, Sabres beat them 4-3 in overtime. You're talking light years away, and then earlier in the season, Bruins won 3-1. So they have owned the season series 3-1. I mean, it's just a hunch that, you're talking about goaltending that the Bruins are going to have. That's their one area of lack of experience when you're talking about playoffs.
And that would be my concern with the Sabres if they got in is a lack of experience versus going up against, let's be real, probably, and the matchup is probably going to be, if Buffalo gets in, against Boston. I mean, the thing is, you never really know with the Stanley Cup playoffs because, crazy shit happens. It's so unpredictable. It's a whole different animal. If it happens in the regular season, it just doesn't matter anymore. But I mean, with some of the just epic play that Boston has had this year, epic moments, just dominant performances from this team. It's hard to say that Buffalo can't. It's hard to say that Buffalo could even compete, because we know that once we get to the playoffs, they're gonna turn it up too, because they want to end this magical season with obviously
the cup,
play
yeah.
Stanley Cup, yeah. So I think whoever faces Boston it doesn't matter who it is. It's
Mincemeat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, even as it stands as is, you have a team, to Brad's point, a team that's 4-6-0 in the last 10 that's given away games in the Pittsburgh Penguins. What are they going to do against Boston? If if it happens to be the New York Islanders, they have their own warts as well. Albeit they might be the best, like, in terms of betting odds, in terms of a team that could, usurp the Boston Bruins. We're talking about a team that has a +13. Differential, have scored 227 goals this year, not quite the 286 and +120 of the Bruins, but at least they're in the green.
No,
They're
absolutely.
a good defensive team too.
Right.
The Islanders, and they've got the goaltending too.
Right.
If you're looking for a team that's goalie could stand on his head, certainly Salo can, and so can Varlamov.
Right.
So they have experience. I don't think it's going to matter though. Boston's going to destroy who they play in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to think about it, look at, if you look at Buffalo's defense, very young. Owen Power, Rasmus Dahlin. A lot of pressure on good, especially on those two, being the top two guys on the defensive core.
Right.
Still question marks in net. Levy has played well in his first two games for Buffalo, but just very small sample size. We have still a lot of questions to be answered from this kid. Could he potentially upset Boston? Sure. There's no such thing as a sure thing. Islanders, I mean, they have one of the best goaltenders in the league right now. So if they wound up against Boston, I think they probably have the best shot. And I think they'll probably wind up losing in 6th or 7th if they wind up facing Boston. But of the three, I mean, I got to sit here and say that the Islanders might have the best chance, just because of Ilya Sorokin.
If they make it.
If they make it, because of Ilya Sorokin. And then Florida's been a solid defensive team all season long. It's just, again, questions of offense, because that offense is not what it was last year, and they're going to need to score goals to compete with Boston.
Ted is saying the Isles versus Hurricanes would be a good series. Boston versus Pittsburgh, whoever is going to be slaughtered.
By the way, Ottawa and Carolina are in overtime.
Gotcha. Prism gave us
most of the play's been in the Ottawa end. Just to let you know, the Carolinas had the puck almost the entire overtime.
Prism is saying Buffalo power play with 23 seconds left and a pulled goalie down 2-1. Thompson drew a penalty. So that game's getting intense. Prism just said game over. Panthers win. So there you go. That takes care of that.
And I think that eliminates them, doesn't it?
It doesn't eliminate them because they have the games in hand. They've only played 75.
That's a devastating loss, though, and that puts.
Yeah.
By the way,
really
that puts the Panthers in the 8th spot, the 8 hole.
Yeah,
yep, they just jumped Pittsburgh. Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yep. So Right now, it'd be Florida versus the Boston Bruins. Hence why that's why we talk about these things as a collective in the wild cards and the teams in the hunt, not separately, because things change like that here.
Yeah, just like that. It's now Florida that's facing Boston in the first round. And I don't think Florida has a goal scoring to match against Boston. Defensively, I think they'll be all right, but Boston's a handful.
Yeah,
they are.
And they're deep.
right.
That they are. Don saying, "Oh man, Buffalo lost. What a shame." He also said "F the Sabres" earlier on, which I mean, I can salute that, Don. Yes, I'm with you on that. Fuck the Sabres. Let them suffer some more. They haven't suffered
They got
enough.
some good young players. I thought it'd be good for the league.
Of course it would be.
No.
I agree with you,
No.
Robbie.
No,
TNT,
no,
come on. TNT's got to get some playoff experience.
no. The Sabres can rot in hell, just like the Devils, and just
Oh,
like
yeah.
the
Maddie,
Penguins.
Just
Maddie.
watching the Penguins and Devils, it's just like, what do you do? Root for injuries if you're us? We can't stand either one of those teams. Just
All right. So real quick, Maddie,
True.
you know what? You know what now would be a good time to do?
What?
Let it go.
Hell no! I will never let that shit go.
It
What?
was
You-
20-some
you-
years ago. Let it
Oh,
go.
come on! You let okay. Have you let the Nashville Predators off the hook for stopping your team in the Western Conference Finals that one year when they went and faced off with the Penguins, where it could have been your team instead? Did you let them off the hook yet? Have you let off? Have you let off the California team? Did you let off LA for fucking over your boy Timo Solani, not letting him have his go home cup?
Yeah, that is what it was.
Hurricanes won.
Okay, I forgot your
Damn.
PC. But anyway.
Damn it.
No, I just don't hold on to everything for the rest of my life and just dwell on the past.
No, you hold grudges, damn it. That's what you do in hockey. You do it in all sports. That's the appropriate way to do it. Every gentleman of a sports fan holds a grudge. That's how it is.
Can I
Correct.
just
Of course you
say
do.
one more thing? Just one more thing. Let it go.
Was
Ted saying,
that
oh yeah.
sorry,
yeah,
real
Rob?
quick, Maddie, Brad, was that Carolina win in OT or
Yes, it was an OT.
Gotcha.
Nakis,
Oof.
is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Natchez, yeah.
Natchez scored from the slot.
He's a good goal scorer.
Goalie had no. I mean, when he was about maybe 20 feet, right down the middle in the
Damn.
slot scoring. I mean, goalie had no goalie's going to stop that shot.
Florida's in the driver's seat with tonight's win.
Mhm.
Now you got Florida a clear 7 points ahead of Ottawa and 6 points against Buffalo. And Buffalo only has they still have those 2 games in hand. I hate to be a broken record, but
That's huge.
This storm surge, I got to get this off.
That's potentially that's 4
Right.
points right there, Robbie. So those 2
Right.
games in hand versus those other
Right.
teams, it's huge. It's huge
It
right
is.
now.
Absolutely. But I mean, we do know some set matchups already in terms of the 2-3s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we got Tampa and Toronto that's set in stone.
That's going to be a great series.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Ted saying Panthers with playoffs on the line and they get smoked by the Flyers. They don't belong in the playoffs.
That was a hot.
I mean,
that was a hot minute ago. But still, it's a fair point, Ted.
right. I don't know
Yeah,
though.
but you know what? The
did
Flyers have played some good games, though.
At the end of the season, yeah, the Flyers showed a little bit of life here, showing some huspa. Not just sitting back and letting teams roll over them like they are tonight. St. Louis is just killing them right now. But
They're playing all right. I mean, they're not playing poorly. They can't get one past Bennington.
yeah,
That
that's
second
true.
period is probably better than the first, in my opinion. They had a lot more scoring chances. They just can't beat Bennington. Bennington's he's on top of it.
Well, I think didn't St. Louis get eliminated from the playoffs?
Yeah, they're out.
Yeah.
So I think tonight the Flyers just have the unenviable task of, oh, hey, we get to play St. Louis. Didn't they just get eliminated? Ah, shit. They're going to be in a shitty mood tonight. Great. That's the last thing you want to deal with is a St. Louis Blues team in a shitty mood, especially Bennington. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
I think what's cool, and maybe this has a slight effect on the scoreboard right now, but with Tortorella stepping away from behind the bench, watching the game from ahead, trying to really ascertain what he's got here with this Flyers organization, but having Rocky Thompson behind the bench, having an opportunity to coach against his idol Craig Berube, I thought that was pretty cool. But those snap decisions, sometimes cost you.
that's
Yeah.
true.
And the last time that happened too, that Tortorella was up in the press box versus behind the bench, they kind of got smoked too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think Tortorella is doing the right thing by taking a game here and there and just going up to the press box and watching from up there and evaluating the talent situation. I just think his presence behind the bench is more important. And I honestly think you see it when he's not back there.
Right.
So next up on the Eastern Conference picture, the Atlantic Division, Toronto and Tampa, those two teams most likely facing each other in a rematch from last year's battle, which saw a very intense 7-game series where both teams traded blowouts against each other. And then at the very last minute, Tampa turned it on and finished off Toronto in Game 7, adding to Toronto's victim complex in the first round. So, gents, do you see a change here? Do you expect something different? Like, what are you feeling for this series? I'm excited for it only because I love seeing rematches, especially if it's only just from last year, because
Right.
all the bad blood's still very much there. So I'm looking forward to that matchup. I don't know about you guys.
100%. I was good to see the rematch again, and Toronto is coming forth with a new brigade, but I don't think it's going to matter, man. I think it's going to be the song remains the same. 6-7 game series, because Andre Vasilevsky is just playing his best hockey of the season right now. He's coming off a week where he pitched 2 shutouts and stopped 99 of 100 shots for insane 0.33 goals against and a 990 save percentage. He's playing really good. He's the difference maker. He's the all-time leader in Tampa Bay for their organization in goaltender appearances, wins, and shutouts. He's 34-20-4 on the season with a 2.57 goals against, a 918 save percentage, and 4 shutouts. Here's a key thing: his career postseason record, 63-28. He's second among active goalies in playoff wins, behind Marc-Andre Fleury with his 92.
Wow. Wow.
He's a difference maker. He's a difference maker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is true.
And it's tough for Toronto because, their goaltending situation is worse this year than it was last year, in my opinion.
Mm.
I like Jack Campbell better than like Ilya Samsonov, although Ilya Samsonov he's a pretty good goaltender. I'm not taking anything away from him talent-wise. I just don't think he's the guy. I don't think he's the answer. I think they got a little bit better on the blue line in Toronto. Not a whole lot, but this matchup just does not favor Toronto at all. Tampa Bay's better in a lot of aspects. I don't want to say every aspect, but a lot of them. They're still one of the most dangerous teams on the power play. They can kill penalties with the best of them. And then a lot of that is because of what Rob said in Andre Vasilevsky, who is probably the hottest goaltender in the NHL right now. We already know he's the best in the world, but if we're talking at this moment in time, he is the hottest goaltender in the league right now.
Yeah.
And that's what you want going into the playoffs. You want your goaltender to be red hot. Now, the one thing that you should concern yourself with, especially in the playoffs with Andre Vasilevsky, if he loses one game, he always comes back to win that next one. So that's something that the Toronto Maple Leafs have to keep in mind as well, is how to get in his head and how to keep him off balance. If they can figure out how to do that, I think they have a shot in the series. But this series is going to be a very long one to start.
Gotcha. By the way, Ted said to me that Brian's a faux Ducks fan. That's why he can't let it go. He has no connection to Anaheim. Bada boom, bada
You're
bing. How you
brutal.
doing?
You're brutal, Ted. Fucking brutal.
I ain't
Sick
worried
of
about what
Dales.
Ted
Oh
says.
boy.
Sick of.
I ain't worried about what he says. How many times does he come in and ask us, "Oh, the Flyers playing tonight? What's the score? Where can I find the Flyers?" At least I know where to find the Ducks every night. Valley Sports on my Hulu. That's
Well,
where I can find
for
them
the-
every night.
For the rest of this season, next year, no.
For the next 5 games.
Yeah.
And then I'm not going to be able to find them until October.
Right. Ted's saying, in my head, Giroux still plays for the Panthers. I haven't even watched the Sens games. How'd that trade work out for Florida? Well, obviously, it didn't work out well for them because Giroux's not even there anymore. So, and they didn't win a cup. So there you go.
And they gave up Owen Tippett, which is a big,
Right.
a big prospect. So, oops.
Coming back to haunt them.
And he's having a solid year for the Flyers. Great year, actually.
He is a nice little player to build on.
Right. Ted's
Agreed.
saying Torch should have healthy scratched himself after he said we're not making the playoffs. Why? We weren't making the playoffs. I don't see what the big deal is when he said that.
Well, like I said earlier, I think this is the perfect time for him to do that because they're not making the playoffs. A lot of people think they need to lose the rest of the games this year. I don't. Win as many games as you possibly can. Build the chemistry for next year. You're getting Coots back next year. You're getting Cam Atkinson back next year. You're getting a little bit healthier. You're going to attract some free agents with how you play the rest of the season. I'm a big believer in that. And one of our commenters last week said the same thing. And I totally agree. You know, if you see young teams like this, just, you know, the rest of the season away, it is what it is. You know, players don't want to come into that. That's just a bad look. It really is. You know, when you see young guys, a young team like this, really, you know, going out there performing and competing every night, maybe not getting the result, but going out and competing every night, showing that they want it and they want to win and they have a good locker room, that attracts free agents. You know, you're going to see a lot of big changes this offseason. Hayes is probably going to be gone. Provorov is probably gone. JVR is gone. So that's a lot of big money contracts off the books, hopefully. Fingers crossed. JVR is definitely gone. We know that for sure.
Yes.
But they're going to try and make some moves. You know, they're going to free up some cap space. They're going to continue to evaluate young talent. And they're going to keep going from there. But the key thing is for the team to get healthy again.
Ted's also saying, yay, Phillies got their first W of the season, so congrats to the Phils.
Something we can agree on.
They did allow the Yankees to get the tying run up, though, in the ninth inning.
Don't matter. He didn't score, did he?
It wasn't easy. They got a run. They lost 4-1. For some reason, Boone decided not to pinch hit Donaldson and put in Rizzo. I don't really understand what they just never learn. They had a chance to fire him in the offseason, and they keep bringing this idiot back, and he has no clue what he's doing.
Well,
so I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised when you put IKF, Donaldson, and Hickson in the game, and Higashioka at the same time. You have no chance to win.
So, I mean, Brad, this might be the slow burn, maybe like a weird serpentine-like way to get him out of there. Maybe the Yankees should just miss the playoffs this year. And then there you go. He's fired immediately.
No, because my prediction is the Yankees making a World Series. I don't have them winning, but I have them getting there.
Yeah, they'll get to the World Series. I mean, they'll get into the World Series in spite of Boone. That's the whole point.
That's how it works. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they win in spite of him. Probably the worst manager in baseball. Somehow they managed to win 99 games, 100 games. It's amazing how they can do that with such a bad manager. But they got a lot of talent.
Ted's saying, any news on the new hockey show joining A2D? No, I haven't heard anything.
No, I haven't heard anything since he came on. So
I think Ted wants to jump ship because of comments from Brian there. He's going to go join the other team now.
He's a
traitor.
He might be a lot meaner than me. I don't know, man.
All right, so Joe saying the baseball season finally started for Philly. Last team to earn a win in the MLB. Well, I mean, what else would the Phillies are going to do? Come on, it's the Phillies. What else do you?
It's not about how you start; it's about how you finish, right?
Exactly. It's
Correct.
a marathon, baby. Let's go.
So, next up on the Eastern Conference playoff picture, the Battle of the Hudson between the Devils and the Rangers, round 5,452 1/3. Gentlemen, how do you feel like this one will play out, since this will be the first time these two teams have met since 2012 when the Devils got the win? Do you see the Rangers getting a measure of revenge on
Yes.
the Devils? I mean, I'm pretty sure that was going to be Brad's answer no matter what. So, on to the unbiased side. Dale's both.
Rangers
Well,
and
that-
6.
Yeah, I'll let my boy talk about his team, man, and break it down. This.
All right.
I mean,
all right,
it's
go
going to be
ahead.
an even. All I'll say is this is going to be an even series, man, because you're talking about two teams. They're exactly the same in goal differential at +54. Devils have 10 more goals at 271 to 261, but the Rangers have given up 10 less.
One thing that the Rangers are going to be in good shape about. Ryan Lindgren will be back in the lineup tomorrow night, and Ben Harper, thank God, will not be in the lineup tomorrow night. So now Adam Fox can actually play aggressively because he's not going to have Picola on the other side, and he can actually go in and try to score once in a while instead of hanging back all the time and just passing the puck.
Just want to update real quick.
No goal or goal?
I just hit the refresh
Question.
on the standings. Florida currently is in the number 1 wild card spot, and the Islanders are in the second.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
So, as we know, Pittsburgh is out. Buffalo is now, or Ottawa is now tied with Buffalo, both being 5 points out. Buffalo still obviously has those 2 games in hand.
Both teams have 38 regulation row. Was that a regulation or overtime wins? What's we call it? I guess they must own the head-to-head tiebreaker. Florida does.
Mm-hmm.
So they're reviewing the goal that would be Cates' goal. But what I'm questioning is, what are they reviewing it? They can't be reviewing.
If he punched it in.
Oh, that's what they're reviewing. Okay, but I don't think he did, honestly. I just think it took a weird bounce.
It did. If you watch the overhead view that they showed, he does make a punching motion, but it doesn't look like he made contact with the puck.
No, he just missed it, it looks like.
Guys, I got bad news for you about the Sabres. They have no shot. I just looked at their schedule. No shot. At Red Wings, Hurricanes at home, at Madison Square Garden against the Rangers, at the Devils, home for the Senators, and then on the road at the Blue Jackets. No shot.
Wow.
That's impossible.
Now, one might
maybe y'all be resting some players for the playoffs.
Now, I will say this. The refs just called it no goal. I don't really think that they should have called that no goal, but I understand why. The ref was afraid Bennington would come over and beat the shit out of him. So it's totally understandable. That is not out of the realm of Bennington's character. So I totally understand. The ref was in fear of his life. Bennington threatened him.
Can they still challenge it?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, they could, but I don't think they want to at this point. It doesn't even matter. It's 3-0. It doesn't.
Yeah, then they end up having to kill a penalty if they don't give it to them.
Right. So it's like, you know what? Forget it. It's a shame. Cates really didn't punch it in, but again, like I said, Bennington threatened the ref, so it's understandable. Anyway,
even if you want to sit there and say that maybe they were challenging goaltender interference, there really wasn't any goaltender interference there either.
No, it wasn't at all. So very head-scratching decision made there. if the Flyers were in a competitive position, I'd actually be fucking furious right now. But since they're not, there goes that.
They were looking at the 2 views or 3 views that they showed us, and if you looked at 2 out of 3, you can clearly see that he did not make contact with the puck after he went like this.
Yeah, he missed it. So it's like, I mean, if I was Torts, actually, I'd be more mad, not about the no goal call. I'd be mad about the lack of hand-eye coordination there from Cates. I'd actually be, yeah, that fundamentals. That's the next thing in practice. Get your ass on your skates. Let's go. All right, then. So, gentlemen, let's see here. Ted's just going to keep throwing out some comments to you. I'm just going to keep popping them up from time to time. Hope you don't mind.
I think he's trying to hurt my feelings, and he's not.
What is it, pick up Brian night for Ted?
That's every week.
Oh, okay.
Let's see here. So next, so the Devils and the Rangers. Brad got a chance to talk a little bit about that. Dale's Pove, how do you see? Do you see that series going the Rangers' way like Brad does, or do you see the Devils upsetting them?
Go ahead, Robbie.
No, I think the Rangers gained a lot of experience last year in the playoffs, and you have the Devils just getting their first taste of success. I think here's where you have a difference of expertise, as well as I think they win the goaltender battle, and that's what counts when it comes. Yes, Flyers goal. Speaking of counts, that one counts. I thought I was almost about to say before, but I didn't want to interrupt Maddie like I just did then. That once you get the puck gets a little taste of the twine behind Binnington, I wouldn't be surprised if they pop one in the next minute or so. And sure enough, a shot from the point sneaks through.
And
Sealer.
I think JVR deflected it though.
Did he? Yes, he did. He lifted the stick up. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, at this point though, I am kind of mad at JVR. It's like, come on, man. You know, like we don't need your trade value up anymore. Let Sealer have a goal, bastard. Anyway,
he's scoring goals for dollars right now. He's
right,
trying to fight keep a job in the NHL.
Yeah, it's like, listen, I want like a $700,000 contract next season.
Sure.
One of those pro tryouts in the preseason. That's what he's fighting for right now.
Right. But just to sum up, though, Maddie, before I pass the baton to Brian,
Sure.
Yeah, I have the Rangers winning this series, and I think they win it in 6.
All right, then. All right. Bri, how do you feel? Devils or Rangers right now?
I'm going to be that guy.
In MSG, too. It could be game 6.
I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to say the Devils upset the Rangers in 7.
Interesting.
So I know there's a lot of youth on the Devils. There's a lot of inexperience in the Stanley Cup playoffs. There's a lot of experience on the Rangers side. The Rangers are one of the best teams in the league for a reason. Igor Shesterkin is one of the best goaltenders in the league. What did I say?
Igor, not Igor.
Not
young Frankenstein.
I love the reference.
I still call him Prince Igor. I think I never will stop calling him Prince Igor, even though he is the starter now.
Wasn't your hump on the other side? What hump? Anyway, Anyway,
that's very abnormal of you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Don's trying to get in Brad's good side because he says, "Give me Rangers in a sweep."
That would be sweet, but I don't think that's going to happen.
See, now that's the thing. The Rangers have the edge goaltending wise. The experience on the Rangers roster far exceeds the Devils. I think the Devils are a little bit faster.
Oh, they're a lot faster, actually.
I think that's going to come and bite the Rangers in the ass in a longer series. And I think it is going to go 7. This is going to be a long series. I definitely think that these are 2 really, really good teams, 2 teams that have fought hard all season long. And, you know, it's going to be a bloodbath. But I'm just going to be that guy. I'm just going to say the Devils in 7. And I think having Andre Palat on that roster, who's been to the last 3 Stanley Cup Finals, is going to play huge dividends for the Devils moving forward, especially in that locker room for the inexperienced guys like Nico Hersher and Jack Hughes moving forward.
Well, the man does know how to score clutch. He definitely did that during Tampa's time in the playoffs.
And this is why they got him for
Mm-hmm.
this reason, for this opportunity.
Yep.
And Ted's asking, when's A2D going to sell Rad Brad merch? I don't know. We got to throw that at Tom, see if he can make that happen.
Bad Brad merch.
I mean, I'm down for it. I would rock a Rad Brad t-shirt. That's fine.
You got to use the image that they use for the score predictions for the Eagles with the Oakleys on. 100%, dude. 100%. I would buy that fucking shirt immediately. Better than this one. This is one of my favorite shirts still.
Better than that
Ted,
one.
Ted, I wish that was possible, but it is not possible. One of them will have to win. I wish that a black hole would suck both those teams in and spit back out the Rangers just to appease Brad. And
thank you.
The Devils could stay in the black hole forever.
I mean, I will say this. Both teams can lose, just in different rounds.
There you go. That's a good way to look at it. There you go,
They will
Brian.
both beat the Hurricanes.
Ah, well.
Well, that was my last question for you boys before we moved over to the West. Like, what are the chances that the Hurricanes make it to the finals? Can they clear this crowd, or is the Bruins, the team to beat?
Without Svechnikov, forget it.
I will say, well, first, before I answer that, Joe's saying still 5 games left in the regular season. I haven't looked at the standings. Are things pretty solidified, or can a lot of pieces still move in the standings? In the wild card race in the East, yes, very much. For the divisions, technically the Metro could still move. The Devils could move up if they want to go on a quick win streak if Carolina slips. But,
I think
I don't know. I would
win
say
all their games. It just the way that the top 3 teams in the Metro have been playing this year, they're probably going to win almost all their games. So I don't see how any team is going to make any significant move.
Right. It's just that's the only real possibility, but it's not a highly probable one. The Atlantic is solidified pretty much. That's
right.
pretty good lockdown there.
The Devils do have a row advantage of 47. The Carolina's 46.
Interesting.
The one that they're in their cap, but they've also played one more game.
Okay. That's true. Game in hand there then for Carolina, which could be a big difference maker.
Well, that was a big win for Carolina to do it in overtime and not have to do it in the shootout.
Sure.
Right.
That was huge.
So let's see here. For me, out of the 2 teams, I mean, Boston is obviously going to be the team to beat just because of the season that they had. They're going to have the big bullseye on their back in the East. However, though, I will say this. I still firmly believe that if you have a really great regular season, something is going to happen that's going to fuck up your playoff run. It's very rare that teams have as dominant of a season and they have a dominant postseason. It just doesn't happen nearly as much as it used to. So I could say that even if Boston gets out of the first round, they may not clear the semifinals. If, say, Tampa beats Toronto again and Vazzy decides, you know what, I think I want another ring, he could conceivably beat Boston in the semifinals. I mean, if he gets going, yeah, they got depth, but Vazzy could single-handedly win that series. he really could.
And the Lightning have enough offense to if Boston makes mistakes, to score goals. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Right. So conceivably, I could see Boston, slipping and making a mistake. I mean, they could slip on a banana peel in the semifinals and find themselves eliminated. Meanwhile, Carolina, maybe they could. But then again, it's a big maybe, because no matter who they draw, you got to face the Devils or the Rangers. Carolina's not going to have an easy road. So if I had to choose out of the two, I would say the one who is most likely, God, I don't want it to be them, but I will say Boston out of the two. I'm not as sold on Carolina beating the Rangers or the Devils. I think that there's a higher probability of one of those two teams knocking the Hurricanes off, more so, in my opinion.
I mean, there's two reasons why I don't think Carolina is getting past the second round. One is their power play. It's been incredibly inconsistent all season long. They've been extremely hot or extremely cold. Lately, they've been extremely cold. They're fortunately winning the 5-on-5, which is really working out in their benefit. But that's 5-on-5 is going to only get you so far in the Stanley Cup playoffs. You got to be able to figure out ways to score on the power play. Their second reason is goaltending. Goaltending has been their biggest bugaboo for the last couple of years in keeping them from getting the Stanley Cup finals. I like Freddie Anderson. I think he's a good goaltender, but he's not that guy. He's not the guy. He showed that in Anaheim. He showed that. Where else has he been? In Toronto, he was even in an even better situation than he was in Anaheim. And still couldn't figure out a way to get past the first round. They don't have a true number one, in my opinion, and that's hurting them. People might say maybe you're Peter Kochetkov. He's good, but I think he's in the same level as Freddie Anderson is. But until they can get the power play red hot again, and they can get some solid productivity out of Freddie Anderson, I just don't see this team getting far. They're still a good defensive team. They can still figure out ways to score goals, but when it comes to power play and goaltending, that's going to be their bugaboo. It's going to be their Achilles heel, and it's going to be the reason why they don't get past the second round.
I mean, it's two big factors, and two of the more, if not the most important factors in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's your power play and your goaltending. Freddie Anderson never has been proven to get it done in the playoffs. So what's the change? But you're also talking about the only other team besides the Boston Bruins to eclipse the 50-win mark this season. So they've done some things right.
No, they have
regular season, and then there's the postseason.
Absolutely, they have, and they're one of the best defensive teams in the league. But you rely heavily on hot goaltending and a hot power play, and you have to ride that through to the Stanley Cup playoffs to get those 16 wins. Sure. And if you can't get that going, you're not going to get very far. You're just not. I love the Carolina team. I think top to bottom, they're a really good team. But like I said, that power play is way too inconsistent. And the goaltending they're getting from Freddie Anderson has been inconsistent. And that's the biggest thing. He's been letting in a lot of soft goals lately. And a lot of them have Yep, and a lot of them have been on him.
That's been his MO his whole career. Didn't he play for the Ducks?
He did. He started his career with them.
Yeah, he used to let in a lot of soft goals with the Ducks too. I never liked Freddie Anderson. I always thought that he was. I always thought that he was a choke goalie. I've always been on his case. I used to say on the Sports Hounds all the time to Rob that that he's a choke goalie, and he's never proven to me that he's not a choke goalie. And the other thing with Carolina is against the Rangers and against the Devils, they cannot stop their power plays.
Yeah, it's
the biggest advantage at it. That's like, I mean, him and Panarin own Carolina, as well as Jack Hughes and Hershier. They own Carolina too. So I don't know how without Svechnikov, that's a big loss. That's their top goal scorer.
Oh, he absolutely is. Oh, that's the other thing too that I didn't even think about. They don't have Svech.
Yeah, that's a big loss for them.
Yeah. It's going to be a rough go of it for Carolina. Joe's saying President's Trophy is cursed. Boston loses in 6 in the first round. If that happens, it would be the greatest thing in the world. I would piss my pants laughing at Boston. Like, you put together a great season just like Tampa did that one year, and then you fucked it up, you fucking pieces of shit. Didn't deserve it. Go rot in hell.
Yeah, the only problem is that that would mean that the Islanders beat them, and that would be a shame.
I mean, I think
I
you
couldn't.
could.
I couldn't fully enjoy it. I couldn't fully enjoy it if it's the Islanders that beat them because I can't stand the Islanders either.
Well, Brad, look at it this way. Say they managed to get all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals and they face the Rangers. You think the Rangers beat them?
Yes, but God forbid if they lost to them. I mean, losing to the Devils would be bad enough, but if they lost to the Islanders, I mean, we'd never hear the end of it. Their fans are just really impossible. Remember, the Met fans are Islander fans, okay, guys? So just understand my where I'm coming from.
Pardon?
Hey.
In New York, though, if you live in New York,
yeah.
most
Okay.
Met fans are Islander fans,
And Brooklyn Net fans.
Yeah, and Yankee fans are usually Giant fans and Knicks fans.
Right.
And the Flyers
Rangers.
just scored, and this time it'll count for Cates.
And is it 3-2
It's
now?
Frosty.
Oh, Frost, I'm sorry. Got the two young Bucks mixed up there. My bad.
That dreaded 3-goal lead.
Yeah, it's got 8 minutes left, too. There's plenty of time for the Flyers to actually tie this game up.
Yeah, Flyers have been.
I can see Binnington losing his mind.
Ooh, that was a bad rebound.
It was. Allison sitting right there in front, too.
The net front presence there was beautiful. You had two Flyers sitting in front on each side of Binnington, so no matter where the rebound went, one of them had to have gotten it.
Right.
The offensive pressure that they've been putting on in the last, especially five minutes or so,
right?
This is bound to happen. So they got to keep up the pressure, maintain the offensive zone time. They climb back in shots too, so they're putting the pressure on them. They got to keep up that pressure. They want to find their way back and tie this game.
Frosty's just one goal away from breaking 20, so I would love to see him get one more, whether it's tonight or before the season ends. That'd be nice to see him get a 20 spot in before it's all said and done. Let's see here. So while the Flyers are scratching their way back into this game, Berube did call a timeout, which was a smart move on his part. So to try and calm the team down after that. We'll see if the Flyers can pull this together and tie the game up. We'll find out. Ted saying Flyers should have an expansion draft, clear up, take everyone's best plays, add Bedard, Seattle 2.0 championship run in year 2. Okay.
My man over here is playing freaking be a GM on NHL 23.
By the way, for those of you who are interested, the Sixers did win against the Celtics tonight. Although the Celtics the Sixers did everything they could to try to lose the game in the last 5 seconds by just giving away 3-pointers, fouling, committing offensive fouls, and Boston actually had a chance to win the game with 2 seconds to go with a 3-pointer, but they missed it.
Ted left this gem too, so fuck the Celtics. I mean, hey, listen, it was fitting for that moment.
I'm not a Celtic fan.
The question
I know
is,
you're
can
not.
they do it in the playoffs?
No. If they're from anybody from Boston, for me, when Philadelphia plays Boston, I root for both teams to somehow lose. I want to make sure that whoever loses, their fans get just completely. How do I put this? Just feel like they got stabbed in the heart when they lose.
Oh.
Yeah,
very understandable.
This would be a game.
Y'all
This
are
would be a
vicious
game
on
that
the
would
show.
have been that would be for Boston because they made that comeback in the last 5 seconds of the game.
Well, that's okay, Brad, because I'll feel the same way when the Devils and the Rangers are playing each other. So
Understood, Matty. But boy, I'll tell you what, it's going to be fun for us to watch this series.
it will be a crazy matchup. It was crazy in 2012, so it'll be crazy here. Actually, it was crazy in '94, although I missed that. But
you have to keep bringing up 2012, don't you?
Listen, I brought up 94 after that, but you got to remember, I missed 94. I was only a year old. Jesus.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. That 7-game series in '94 was against the Devils, by the way, not just Vancouver. That was one of the most intense series I've ever seen, and downright hostile. And there were a couple of bench clearing brawls at the end of the game, ended a couple of those games. Yeah, because as always, Claude Lemieux was always acting like a dick. So it just You know, he just brought it on himself. By the way, his son is the same kind of player. But
That's true.
However, I will say this: when he's on your team, you love him. I mean, I loved Brendan Lemieux when he was on the Rangers.
And now he's on the Flyers. There you go.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's too bad, but you know, that's okay. Brendan is Brendan. He takes after his father. He's not as good a player though. He doesn't score goals like his father did. His father really pissed you off because he not only would he drive you nuts, he'd also score a couple of goals too.
Well, here's a fun one for you guys. What big hit is he responsible for that led to one of the biggest brawls in the history of the NHL in the Stanley Cup Playoffs?
Oh, that was the hit on the guy on Detroit. Who was it?
Right?
Draper.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
It was
hit.
And
then Vernon and Roy fought, and Vernon kicked his ass.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And
Whoa!
I know, that was so close.
Scotty Lawton.
There was a big hit on Shen, too, down on the Flyers' end as well. Like, just a nasty shot on him.
Do you remember the Claude Lemieux 60-foot shot that beat Hextall?
Unfortunately, that was... that's usually seen in the highlight reels for the Devils' first Cup run, unfortunately.
Yeah, that was... I remember when that puck went in, I was watching the game, and I was like, are you kidding, Hextall?
That's the moment I would highlight and say, this is why Hexy probably should not have been brought back by the Flyers. He was not in his prime. In prime, Hexy would not have let that one go in.
That was awful, that goal. Oh, my God.
Yeah,
I mean, he almost shot that. That was a why not shot, and it went in.
That I think, unfortunately, that was the moment everybody realized that, fuck, the Flyers are going to lose this, aren't they? That was the fuck moment.
Yeah. That team, nobody liked that team.
No. And to this day,
they almost ruined hockey with that stupid trap.
Oh, no, they did ruin hockey with the trap. Let's just give it to them. They ruined it.
They did ruin it. They made it so boring that they had to take out the red line to stop it.
And you are correct, Joe. What a sequence by Binnington there.
Unbelievable.
Well, we've seen the good, bad, and ugly of Binnington all year. It's been mostly, got to tell you, it's been mostly bad this year.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if the Blues keep him around for next year.
Good question.
I would really wonder, because it seems to me like he's one of those guys that he fires up the other team, I think, with all his stupidity.
I think he stays. I don't know if many teams are going to want to take on his antics on the ice and even off the ice.
Right.
Well, a team that needs to draw fans.
I mean,
maybe.
I will say this. He did cost his team a series. So when he said that shit about Nazem Kadri, and then Kadri just said, "Oh, okay. Well, you mind if I put a 3 spot on you, motherfucker? Oh, yeah, thanks.
Pretty much.
By the way, we'll take this series from you and go to the semis, or actually go to the Western Conference Finals. Thanks, man."
I always did like Kadri. Yeah, he's one of those guys. He wears his heart on his sleeve. No question about it. He's one of those high energy type players.
He really is. He really is.
I mean, he is. I remember, and this season when Trouba almost killed him when he went in on one-on-one against him, and he tried to get to the net, and Trouba knocked him down, and then all the Flames went after Trouba, and Kadri came out the next day and said that they shouldn't have bothered him. It was a perfectly good check.
Oh yeah, when he got
he wasn't upset at all, but the entire Calgary team wanted to kill Trouba after that hit.
Oh, it was vicious. Looked vicious, but he popped right back up. But that's the thing I like about Kadri is for what you said. He's had a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? He's had a lot of doubt in his career. People didn't think he was going to be the player that he is, but
he's crossed the line a few times. He's
course
gotten
he has. What
suspended in
player
the
hasn't?
playoffs. Yeah, he's gotten suspended a couple of times in the playoffs. I think that's what ended up getting him. That's what got him out of Toronto was that, and then I think that's probably what ended up getting him out of Colorado too.
Yeah.
Even though he helped them win the cup.
No, this contract being up was why he left Colorado. They weren't going to give him the money he was looking for.
Well,
did
I think
want a
he
pretty
has.
penny.
Yeah, he wanted a lot. He wanted a lot of money. I guess you're right about that. But definitely Toronto got rid of him for that reason.
So let's see here. Time to change gears to the West. Go to the third period. Speaking of which we are in with about 3 minutes left, with only one goal separating the Flyers and the Blues. So we'll see as that continues to develop.
But the Flyers killed the penalty, so that's a big thing.
It is. And a huge rebound, and they almost, but couldn't get any sticks on it to knock it home there. Bennington left another rebound out there wide open. Yeah. Third period brought to you by FanUp, the best way to fantasy sports. Hopefully you were using them in the NFL season, but you can use them for the NHL and the NBA season as well as the MLB season has officially kicked off. You can win great prizes if you sign up today, and if you use the promo, you get 5,000 bonus points, which is a $50 value. Just go to fanup.app, download it, and earn yourself some cash in the fantasy world. Get a side hustle going that way. Okay, then. So, as we move forward into the third period, time to look at the Western Conference setup here. And the wild card race right now in the hunt currently. Nashville's still technically in it at 84 points, albeit though it may not be much longer. Calgary at 87. Meanwhile, in the two wild card spots, Winnipeg and Seattle currently holding those two spots right there. And so, starting things off, I would say that Nashville is probably out. Calgary and Winnipeg, big game. That'll be tomorrow night. And Seattle's got the number one wild card spot. Since Dales and Pove are on a break for the moment.
I'm here.
You are here. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Got you. So gents, how do you feel about this? Do you think Seattle, Winnipeg, or Calgary, if Calgary makes a playoff spot here, do you think any of them have a run in them in the Western Conference to surprise everybody?
I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to disagree with you, Maddie. Nashville is not out of it. Nashville has two games in hand. Nashville has 2 games in hand on both of those teams, and they still play both of those teams. It's at the I think it's for the last 4 games of the year. 2 of them are against Winnipeg and Calgary.
All right.
But I think, based off of your question here, I think Seattle could make a run. I got to see the standings again and see where they are, see what their matchup is.
They have 92 points. They're in the number one wild card spot.
Okay, so they would play Dallas? Or are they playing Vegas? They play Dallas.
From the way it's set up, Vegas has 103. Yeah, they play Dallas because Dallas has 98.
I mean, Seattle's and we've talked about them. I don't want to say ad nauseum, but a good amount this year because, they've been a very good, hardworking team. I don't know if they have a shot against Dallas. I mean, in the standings here, they're 6 points back on Dallas, but I think Dallas is a better team. I think they have Dallas has better defense. Dallas definitely has better goaltending. I think Steve Oettinger has been just unreal all season long, and he's a big reason why Dallas is where they are. I know Preds is going to disagree with that, or actually he might agree with that, but he also might even say Jason Robertson has been huge too, and he's been a key factor in their success this season too. To me, Seattle just hasn't had that guy really step up and be that guy. I think Matty Beniers has had a good year, but I mean, who's really stepped up for Seattle? They've been getting a lot of good play from a bunch of different players this year. So they're showing a lot of depth. They're showing, a lot of secondary scoring, but.
Well, Vegas and Nashville right now, by the way, are in overtime. 2-2.
Okay, good to
So,
know because that could be a factor.
This is a huge game. I've got it up now, guys. It's on ESPN. If anybody out there is interested, huge game, right? Huge game. This overtime is huge. If Nashville's going to win it, then
They're going to win it.
They got to win this game.
But yeah, the question.
So St. Louis just got an empty netter. Put this one on ice. Tupchenko got the interesting name. Torchenko gets the empty netter there, and I forget who smashed their stick onto the goal there.
D'Angelo.
Beyond pissed off, which I mean, yeah, that's who it was. Yeah.
I
get it. I get it. It's frustrating, but yeah. So that's 4-2. Looks like St. Louis is going to win this one. Flyers continuing their hard work to get the best draft pick possible. All right then.
But
you know what? They didn't quit though. Give them credit. At least they they have nothing to play for, but they played with pride, and they did come back and make it interesting. So good for them for at least making the game interesting.
They did.
And coming back.
Absolutely.
So, that team could have easily just folded their tents and lost 5-6-0 the way that game was going, and they didn't do that. So that's something to be encouraged about.
But jumping back to the Seattle here, I think the question lies if they do play Dallas in the first round is who does Seattle rely on? Who do they? Who says, "Boys, get on my back. I got you." You can go a couple different directions for Dallas. You can go Jamie Benn. You can go Tyler Seguin. Prison in the chat is saying Miro.
Jason Robertson.
Jason Robinson is a guy. Hey, get on my back, boys. I got you. Wyatt Johnson has had a great season for Dallas.
Seattle is one of those teams that the sum is greater than the parts. They've got that. They've got that like miscellaneous thing that's going on. That intangible that's going on because they just work and play so hard that they out hustle everybody. But it's hard to do. It's hard to win that way in the playoffs because every team in the playoffs is hustling like crazy. That's the difference between the playoffs and the regular season. Oh,
no, absolutely. And you know what? And that you always need a guy to rely on and a guy that's going to carry you through the playoffs. I just don't think Seattle has that guy yet. I think it's going to be Berniers. I really do. I just don't think he's ready to take that role on yet. And I think Dallas is just a better team.
Yeah, I can't see Seattle. Beating anybody in the playoffs. To be honest, I think they'll be competitive in every game, but they'll always be a goal short. They just don't have that. They don't have that guy that they can carry a team on their back, like the Rangers have Zibanejad, right? The Devils have Hershier or Jack Hughes. Who does Seattle have to do that? The Dallas has. You mentioned the three guys: Robertson, Seguin, and Jamie Benn. Yeah, they have all three of those guys, and they've got a great goalie. Who's Seattle
right now? By the way, now.
Who's Seattle?
We talked about Nashville.
How's Seattle?
I was just going to say we talked about Nashville not being out of it just yet. They're currently 2-2 with the Golden Knights in overtime, so they might be able to snag an extra point here in the standings. So, but anyway,
and by the way, they've had the puck most of the overtime. By the way,
that's fun.
So, yeah, now they're just kind of they keep going backwards because they keep trying to wind it up. On 3-on-3, how they wind it up and try to catch somebody napping. They just got the boomerang effect. Yes, and now they're and now they got the puck behind the net. And I mean, boy, I'll tell you what, the Golden Knights are playing good defense. Surprised they haven't brought it back out again.
That's one thing they've done all year. That's one thing they've done all year, and that's why.
Oh, look at this! Oh, that should be a penalty. Oh, the Tampa Bay. When I say Nashville is going to have a power play.
I kind of hope Nashville wins this, but I still want.
Yeah,
Calgary to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nashville.
Whoa. He shot it. He shot the puck right back at him. Oh,
Yes, he
that
did.
is. Oh, wow.
Yeah, Marchessault is.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, they're furious.
You
at
know, back
Marchessault.
in the day, you did that. You would get your ass whooped for doing something like that. Holy shit.
Yeah, but they're not going to do that in overtime. They got to. This is too important for Nashville. They can't lose their cool and give up the power play to kick that guy's ass, Marchessault's ass. Marchessault would deserve it too. That was definitely a penalty. I mean, I don't know what he's all pissed off about. He grabbed his arm.
Right.
Speaking of rough stuff, we got some rough stuff in Chicago and Calgary at the end here. At second period, as they're tied up 2-2.
Yeah, hey man, a lot of intensity, man. It's that time of the year. Everybody's trying to get those last playoff spots. Desperation time. Unless you're the Flyers, but
Yeah, right.
Well, it looks like the Rangers are basically going to be playing out the string because I don't think that they're going to be able to come in second. And they're definitely not going to come in fourth. Oh, Marchessault! Oh, that was really a chump move by Marchessault.
It was.
Right.
To
Like,
shoot the puck to shoot the puck at Tomasino like that. I don't blame him for being pissed off.
Like I said, I mean, and McDonough's like, yo, what the fuck was up with that? But I mean, honestly, you did that back in the day. Someone's kicking your ass. I'm like, that's some bullshit right there.
Well, these players have long memories.
They do.
They'll remember next season. They'll get. They don't. None of these guys forget. You know that.
No, that's
the
true.
One unique thing about hockey, they never forget.
True. So receipt taken. They'll give it back to Marchessault at some point.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. They won't forget.
So
No, if they see each other in the playoffs, so there'll be a little reminder there.
Oh,
yeah.
definitely.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Bri, you were talking about Seattle making a bit of a run. Brad, did you see anybody making a bit of a run?
You know what? The only team I could see out of the teams that aren't in the top three, they could make a run is Calgary if they get in. And Nashville has just won.
Wow.
Tomasino got the goal.
How fitting. How fitting. The guy who got shot at gets the win.
Right.
Yep.
So the Catfish people can be happy. Their team won.
That's a big win for them.
Huge win. It's going to be an even bigger win if Calgary loses to Chicago tonight.
Quick had absolutely no shot. No chance.
Hold on. I got to rewind here because I swear to you, one of the Nashville players bumped Quick in the side of the helmet on his skating past.
This is a beautiful play. Look at this play. I mean, he had no chance. That puck was behind Quick before he even had a chance to move. That was a great pass. Wait a minute. No, the reason
it didn't even go off the D-man.
That went off the defenseman. Yeah, that went off the defenseman.
Oh, it did go off the skate of the D-man. Yeah.
Yeah. No wonder he didn't have a chance.
It went off McNabb's skate there. Yeah.
Yep.
Ooh, that's a rough one. That's going to haunt McNabb tonight.
Actually, Glass is the one. Glass is actually the one that got the goal.
Still, though.
Yeah, I thought it was
them.
Tomasino because Tomasino was on the other side. I thought he's the one that tipped it in, but it went in off the defenseman.
So,
but boy, what a huge win for Nashville. Now, here's a huge game in the standings: Edmonton and LA.
The Oilers at 99 points and LA at 100. So they're fighting for playoff position
on the line.
Yep.
They're
Who's going to have home ice in their series?
I want to say this real quick.
Yeah.
Ted kind of already beat me to the punch, but I'm going to phrase it a little bit better. Cody Glass, the winner of the Ryan Ellis, Nolan Patrick trade.
Yeah.
The absolute winner of that trade. Because the Flyers clearly aren't winning that trade with Ryan Ellis on the LTIR.
Nope.
Nolan Patrick had so much potential to be a 20 to 30 goal scorer in the NHL. Vegas could have really brought him back, but he's still having headache issues. That makes Nashville the winner of that deal.
Oh, yeah. Especially tonight.
Oh yeah.
So as for actually, Robbie, out of the teams in the hunt and in the wild card spot, do you see any teams out west, shocking everybody and making a bit of a run?
Nah, I mean, the only one, and it's not a shock. I just think that Winnipeg and Calgary are going to battle for that last wild card spot, and the last man standing will walk out of that triumphantly. I think Calgary could take it, but Winnipeg's a strong team too, so it'll just be interesting. But I don't think either team would be surprising. I don't see Nashville. I agree with you, gentlemen. There, it's. When it comes to the Predators, they have a slim chance to climb back in the race. They do have 2 games in hand on the Jets and Flames. So, I mean, if I want to go with the same logic that I had before, well, I mean, it's down to 1 game now after tonight, but the same logic that could give them a little feather in their cap, but they have been too inconsistent all season to really make any noise.
I want to agree with you, Robbie. I really do. But the difference here is Nashville still has to play Winnipeg and Calgary one more time. So that's going to play huge dividends if they can win those games.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. That is true. And if Saros can steal those games, you know what I mean? And then they steal the spot. So, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but I don't expect that. I don't expect it.
Understandable.
It's just, you talk about on the season, they rely too much on their goaltender. I think you see a little bit of what we see here in Philadelphia or whatever. I question the defense that's getting played in front of them. Now they've had their losses, both on, injury and otherwise, So I mean, like every team, they have to battle against that, and it's how you're playing right now. But they're 4-5-1 in their last 10. They're not exactly streaking right now. You got to like Calgary at 6-2-2.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing too is on the defensive side, no more Ryan Ellis, no more Matthias Ekholm. So that defense took a hit at the trade deadline.
Right.
Although the Ellis deal happened 2 years ago, but still. So now your top 2 guys is Ryan McDonough and Roman Josi. 2 very good defensive players. So don't let me take that away from them at all. Roman Josi is probably the best defensive player in the league. But you're right. They rely a little bit too much on Uzi Saros. And now no Matt Duchene for however long because he lost the tip of his finger blocking a shot.
Oof.
Yeah, so I mean they have their woes they're battling, but to beat Vegas in overtime right now is huge for Nashville moving forward. They can get a couple more wins here heading into Calgary and Winnipeg. I do kind of like their chances to upsetting a lot of fans out there and ousting Calgary and Winnipeg out of the wild card spot.
That would definitely upset a lot of people in Canada. No doubt.
This is completely off topic on that, but I just got to say, because I have Edmonton and LA on right now, does anyone else think that Edmonton's coach looks like a complete dork?
Yeah,
I think he does.
Really does kind of look like a nerd.
Nerd.
He does, man.
What coach doesn't?
Just the observation.
Yeah, he looked like the fat kid in the class that sat in the front row to make sure nobody beat him up in the back row.
Don, how many wins is that for the Tigers this year?
So let's see here.
They won last night.
They won tonight too.
Oh, that's 2 in a row. They beat Houston twice in a row.
Go Tigers.
Oh, my God.
They got a sneaky young team over there.
No, they're terrible. Come on.
They got a sneaky young team over there. They got some talent on that roster.
Who, the Tigers?
Yeah.
Could you tell me who?
Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson. There's some young pups that, I think they need a little bit more time in the oven. They maybe shouldn't be on this level right now, but I'm trying to see what Matt Manning's stats were tonight. And, they beat Houston. So obviously, had to have been a pretty good game for him. He's a guy that, I've been high on as like a deep guy in fantasy.
Yeah, they got smoked in Tampa Bay this weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the addition of Nick Maton for that team. I love who's that one dude? I'm blanking on his name. Adobu.
Oh yeah. I don't know how to pronounce it, but
Yeah,
I don't think he's with them.
I thought he was. But he was a Rule 5 player, wasn't he? He was picked in the Rule 5 draft by Detroit, and he wound up actually being a pretty solid player for them. I think they still need help pitching, but I'm not saying they're a playoff team, but they got a nice little squad over there. They're turning into a pretty good team.
Do you think they're going to beat out Kansas City for last place?
Actually, I think they finish ahead of Kansas City.
That's what I mean. You think they'll finish ahead of Kansas City?
Oh, yeah.
Last place.
That's it. Yes, Rob.
He's down in AAA right now, but I mean, he's 24 years old. He could be back with them.
Oh, he definitely will be. He should. He deserves to be up there. But yeah, I absolutely. Kansas City to me is just giving up. Bobby Witt Jr. is the only good thing on that Kansas City roster right now.
Oh, Pasquantino was pretty good too.
Yeah, I like Bitty P.
He's not bad. He's not a bad player.
You know, the funny part is when you said that guy's last name, Badu, I actually thought I thought you said kill the dude. I'm like, what? what the fuck kind of name is that?
Yeah, no, it's Badu.
Right?
He's Kazoo's cousin from the Flintstones.
Oh, okay. That answers everything.
Kazoo.
He's a good ball player, though. I like him. I think he's got a good. I think he's got a good career ahead of him.
Yeah, I'm not high on the Tigers at all. So as you can probably tell.
I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to make the playoffs, but I mean they're starting to trend in the right direction here.
Come on, they got Erod. Come on now.
They do.
So
yeah.
Ted did throw this comment out here.
Yeah, okay.
Ted's comment here says, "You guys think we can get Kings Knights round 2, or is it probably not going to happen?" With that being said, take a quick look at the 2-3 matchups that we have in each division. In the Central, it's Minnesota and Colorado, and the 2-3 in the Pacific is LA and Edmonton. So, gents, anything you guys want to point out in this series, or who do you think has the advantage in the series? What do you think we'll see? Who wins in these matchups? Edmonton in 7 against the Kings. Okay.
Yep. I don't care where they play it. Edmonton in 7.
That's going to be a tough one for the Kings because one of the aspects of this Kings team right now is their defense hasn't been consistent all year. But they've been getting goals. They've been getting goals all year. That's kind of what Edmonton is. It's a very similar matchup. Two very similar teams that can score.
Yeah, and Edmonton they have the greatest power play of all time, by the way.
They do.
This year. And is it still 31%?
Probably. It's probably somewhere in that ballpark. I think Robbie's looking it up, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm on it. Who are you talking?
Edmonton's
power play.
They've slipped down. No. Edmonton is at 26. Or hold on. Let me get on the right year. All right, there we go. Yeah, 32.44% on the power play. Still over 7+ % points above.
Do you realize how good that is? That's literally every 3 power plays they score.
It's astronomical. It's insane.
Do you know how hard it is to beat a team in the playoffs that's going to burn you on power plays like that? Because you're going to commit with the talent they have, you're going to commit at least 3 or 4 penalties every game.
So you're telling me that the team that's sporting Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, Zach Hyman, that they're having great opportunities on the power play to score?
Yes. Absolutely.
You're crazy.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say if the Kings kept Jonathan Quick, I would take the Kings in that series against Edmonton.
Interesting.
Because as much as I do like Jack Campbell, Jonathan Quick's experience and his veteran leadership would play a huge part. And I think he's a better goaltender than Jack Campbell is. I don't think Korpisalo is the guy to do it. I just don't. and then the defensive woes that the Kings have gone through most of the season, that offense has really helped them out. And it's not saying that the Kings defense isn't good. It's just young. They're going to lose.
It hasn't been. They're not a shutdown team right now.
No,
hold on.
and
Yeah,
they're
they
going
can't
to
sit
be,
there.
but just not at the moment.
Right. They're not the kind of team that can sit there and take Edmonton's best shot and be able to stay in the game.
But wait a minute. The Kings wouldn't have Quick because he's on the Knights now.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I was confused there for a second. Like, wait a minute. He's not on the Kings no more.
Yeah, well,
we
that's
just
what
saw
I'm saying.
Quick-
I'm saying
we just saw
hypothetically,
Quick
if
get
he
beaten-
was.
get beaten on
Okay.
Crazy
gotcha.
I missed that too.
Yeah, so it's all I'm saying is we know Edmonton is a powerhouse offense, and you need a good defense to stop them, and you need a good goaltender to stop them. I'm high on the Kings. I think they're just getting started, and their defense is going to be really good in the next year or two. I just think that Edmonton has a lot of firepower, and they're going to be on the power play at some point. It's going to happen. And that power play is going to strike, and it's going to be the reason why Edmonton gets out of the first round.
Hey, guys, I just realized something. With the game on with LA, did you realize that it's not the Staples Center anymore? It's the Crypto.com arena.
Yeah.
What?
What is all that?
Yeah.
Crypto something.
Yeah, Crypto.com. It's been that for, 2 years now?
It has been? Wow. That's
Where have I
crazy.
been?
I mean, to be fair, LA
And they had
only
Jaeger,
did just.
and they have Jaeger ads on the ice.
Yeah, the
You know-
Jägermeister. Yeah.
Maddie, you know where I
Yeah.
learned that? Watching BTE.
Ah!
Being the elite because they obviously do perform short shows there, and you know how much Matt and Nick Jackson are into basketball.
That is true. That is
Big time
true.
Clippers fans that they are.
Also, WrestleMania and Raw after WrestleMania, they were making
True.
a big deal about being out in LA and Crypto.com.
Just so weird it not being the Staples. It was the Staples Center for a long time. Like it actually had a good long run as the Staples Center. But anyway, so as for LA and Edmonton, by the way, I gotta say I am actually very happy that the Kings are competitive now because we got to see a reigniting of. We all talked about how the Battle of Alberta got reignited last year, but we kind of forgot the Kings and Edmonton have quite a nasty history with each other too. So because they were in the Smythe division for so long, so
Yep. Well,
Kings
it's going to be the first penalty. They didn't call that a penalty.
no, they did not.
That was clearly a trip.
Would not have been the first though, because Kings got called on a holding a little bit a while back. But anyway, point though is that it's cool to see that we're getting a reignition of some rivalries we haven't seen in a while. You know, the Kings and Edmonton actually have a pretty fierce rivalry with each other, so it's nice to see that come back into the playoffs. So. With that, I will say Kings and Edmonton, as great as Edmonton is, I'll be honest with you. The run they went on last year, I'm not trying to say it wasn't a good run, because it was a good run for Edmonton. I'm not trying to take anything away from them on that. But how much of that was them relying heavily on the offense and getting lucky that they drew LA before LA was what they are now? And then drawing Calgary that likes to trip over their own dick every year. Also, they own that battle anyway.
Yeah.
They kind of got exposed quickly by Colorado. Colorado manhandled them in the Western Conference Finals.
Do you think it's going to be any different this year?
I mean, honestly,
The way Colorado's been playing the last month and a half, I just can't see them not being in the finals.
I mean, I get it. I think Edmonton, I could see LA upsetting them, honestly. I could honestly see LA walking away with a really hard-fought victory over the Oilers, because if there's one team that knows how to piss people off and disappoint, it's this team in the Oilers organization. Yes, last year was not a disappointment by their standards. They got out of the first round and went on a run, but LA seems like they might be able to do it. They might outwork the Oilers and manage to pull it off.
They have to match them goal for that to happen, though, and that's tough with McDavid and Draisaitl and Hyman.
You are correct.
And Kane.
You are correct.
They just don't have enough goal scorers.
No, they have some good ones, but I just don't think their firepower matches up to Edmonton.
No.
You are right. I can definitely agree with you on that. But if there's one thing that Edmonton does in the playoffs, it's disappoint.
Yeah.
And if there's one thing too, Korpisalo as a goaltender, if he decides to kind of find his game that he had a few years back when he was playing with Columbus, LA may have a harder time than they would want against the Kings going into that series. And I'm not saying they wouldn't score. They would score, but maybe not as much as they would like. Maybe not burying LA on the scoreboard like they would like. And LA could tie the game up if they work hard enough. It's just, it's possible. I think that there's a sliver of chance of LA.
I see it being a 7-game series, though. I could see that.
Oh,
it could. It definitely could.
Big goal by Chicago. Anthony C. just took the lead over Calgary.
Oh my God! This is just it's so Calgary this year.
Sorry, Dylan.
The good news for Calgary is just the beginning of the third period, so there's still plenty of time left. But that was a massive turnover.
Okay, so
what a
switch
pass
gears.
by Lucas Reichel.
Maddie, I will throw this in real quick in terms
Sure.
of why I vote for Edmonton in this series. They have the best player on the planet right now, and his name is Leon Draisaitl.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Leon Draisaitl had one hell of a week, didn't he? What do you have, five goals this week.
Yeah, I'll give more of his stats in the shootout. I won't delay this talk right now, but in case anybody listening thought I was going to say Connor McDavid, I'm not throwing shade on McDavid. It's Draisaitl's been freaking on fire.
I was going to say, Robbie, you sneaky bastard, you tricked me. I really did think you were going to say McDavid there.
Don't take anything away from McDavid and his 62 goals this year.
Oh, no. Absolutely not. Yeah, it'd be interesting. Be interesting if he breaks any of Gretzky's records that he has in Edmonton. Be crazy if he managed to pull that off. But let's see here. Next
I was
up,
talking to a buddy of mine. You guys probably know him, Kirk Cooper. We were talking a little bit, and we were discussing McDavid's point production and compared it to the way it was in the 80s with Gretzky, and saying that the point production that Connor McDavid had this year would probably be equal to what it was back in the 80s when they were scoring 150, 200 points a year. So just kind of put that in perspective on the year that McDavid's having, and I'm sure Draisaitl is in that same stratosphere.
pretty much.
Draisaitl, I think Draisaitl has like 120 points, doesn't he?
I'm actually going to look that up right now.
Could you have imagined if those guys were playing back then too? Holy fuck!
No,
Jesus.
It's 100. It's in the 100 and teens.
Yeah, but Maddie, that's the thing, man. And I'll give a little tease for later.
I would say 115.
Leon Draisaitl is doing things that Super Mario and the Great One did back then. Now,
Right. In an era with better goaltending.
right. I'll give the particulars later.
So
Chicago just scored again.
wow, Calgary is determined to
such
fuck
a
this
joke.
up. Whew, they are fucking the dog big time here.
Playing spoiler. That's what their job is now.
Yeah.
But McDavid has 146 points so far this season. Draisaitl has 120.
Wow. So what? He does have 120. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was right.
Both guys have eclipsed 50 goals this year. That's insane. You have 112 goals between two players.
In today's age, that's unheard of. In today's age.
266 points between two players. I quit.
He has 100. McDavid
What?
has 150 points.
Brian, come on,
146.
Brian. It's not like if Anaheim made it to the playoffs, they'd have to deal with them. Oh, wait a minute. Never mind. Sorry.
Well, by the time Anaheim makes the playoffs again, I ain't gonna have to worry about it. McDavid and Draisaitl will be retired at that point. They're this rebuild's going. You ain't gotta worry about that.
Maybe they'll be on the Kings as they leave the Oilers and they try to buy a cup.
Hey, Robbie, do me a favor. Shut up.
No, you know what it'll be? The Sharks will be so far along in their rebuild that they'll just go to the Sharks and they'll do it that way. They'll go ahead of the Ducks in the rebuild process.
For
You can
sure.
shut up too, Maddie. How funny would it be if they both wind up in Anaheim?
That would be hilarious. Okay, so let's see. Minnesota, Colorado. Is this one a slam dunk?
No.
Yes.
No? Okay.
No. This one's far from a slam dunk. I think we talked about it a little bit last week or the week before. Gustafsson, goaltender for Minnesota's been having a fantastic season. That defense in Minnesota has been pretty solid the majority of the year. They are in a tough division. The goal differential, I mean, Colorado does have 22 on Minnesota, but I mean, they're not getting the goal production out of guys that they need to in Minnesota. But they are getting it out of guys like Kirill Kaprizov, Matt Boldy out of nowhere, 30-goal season this year. Matt Zuccarello is back to being his player. If they can get Hartman back on track, I think this team's going to be all right. Are they going to? Is it going to be a landslide for either team? Hell no. This is going to be a long series. This is going to be a long series too. This is going to be a 6 or 7 game series, but I don't think it's going to be a slam dunk. The way Colorado's played this year, I don't think they're up to par to where they were last year. I still think they're a great team. I can see Minnesota upsetting Colorado.
They had a lot of injuries though.
Yeah, they've lost some pieces though from the Stanley Cup team, the free agency.
True.
Kadri being one, Andre Burakovsky being another. Those are 2 big pieces, so they don't have them anymore. So that's 2 holes.
A quick aside about Minnesota. What's it with them pulling diamonds out of the rough and turning them into 30 goal scorers? You mentioned Hartman. Now he couldn't repeat this year, but this year's Hartman is Boldy. Like,
yeah,
it's like Cleveland. It's like the Cleveland Guardians putting out pitchers.
Yeah, seriously. I wouldn't even have thought of that comparison. But yeah, I mean, you still got Marco Rossi coming up too. So I mean, he's going to be another 30-goal scorer. So you could just chalk him on the list now. But yeah, I mean, Boldy's really stepped up in Kaprizov's absence, and that's been huge for them. Especially over the last month, this kid's been absolutely on fire. Just in the span of a week, maybe 2 weeks since we last talked about him, he had 21 goals. Now he's at 30. Like, this kid is red hot. If they can carry the momentum into the playoffs and they do wind up playing Colorado, which I think is pretty much set in stone. Actually, no, because I think they're tied with Dallas for first. They are. If this winds up being the series, I do like Minnesota's chances at upsetting them. But like I said, this series is going to be long. It's going to come down to goaltending this series. It's going to have to, because both teams can score. Defense and goaltending is going to be this series. I don't like Darcy Kemper.
He's not their goalie anymore.
You're right. He's in Washington.
Georgiev is their goalie now.
Yeah.
Who's had a
stand
pretty
by my
good year.
statement.
Yeah, he's had a pretty good year, but
I still stand by my statement.
He's still Georgiev, though.
I still have a valid point, damn it.
Insert crappy goaltender's name here. But no,
yeah, that's Colorado.
Mike Smith?
In a nutshell. I mean, Gustafson's had a great year for Minnesota. I'm going to pull up his stats real quick because they were raving about him the other day.
He's coming off the former Star of the Week. I think it was either last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I mean, not the week that was, but before that.
So Philip Gustafson in 36 games played is 20-9. He's allowed 72 goals on 1,060 shots for goals against of 2.03.
Wow.
Wow, that's a
And a save percentage of .932.
that's
God
a
damn.
that's a
He's talking. He's in Vezina consideration right now.
I was going to say that's Vezina numbers. If he had, I think, a few more starts, that might hurt his chances in that voting. But that don't matter when you're talking about a goaltender.
Yeah. Linus Olmark is going to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's having a monster year too. But I'm giving the edge to Minnesota. I mean, unless they play Dallas, I think Dallas is the only team that might be able to actually oust Minnesota.
That's good. Interesting. Like to say it.
Interesting.
I mean, this is a very underappreciated Minnesota Wild team.
For sure.
That's what makes them so dangerous. They're under the radar. If they were, that's when you're the most dangerous. Is when no one's thinking it. No one's thinking. Because remember how the last couple of years we thought Minnesota might do something and they got out in the first round? Now they're kind of flying under the radar. It's like, this is where they're dangerous. This is where they start wrecking shit, and people's going, holy fuck, they just dethroned the champs. Like, okay, now we got to take them seriously.
Yep. They got 4 players right now over 20 goals, and that's Matt Zuccarello, that's Joel Eriksson Ek, Matt Boldy, and Kaprizov. They have 4 players over 60 points. Same 4 players. But, they're still getting support from guys like Frederick Goudreau, Ryan Hartman, Jared Spurgeon, guys that they need to. Kalen Addison is showing that he can really pass the puck. 25 assists for a defenseman. Kind of reignited Sam Steele a little bit. He's probably having one of his better seasons since coming in the league with 26 points. Having Ryan Reeves down there too is going to help in the playoffs because he plays a physical game. He's going to be able to wear teams out physically, and that's going to pay huge dividends. Because Colorado can throw their weight around too. They got guys that can do that. If they wind up playing Colorado, it's going to be a barn burner.
Colorado has guys who can throw their weight around too. By the way,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they have the one of the reigning heavyweight champions on their team right now.
Mm-hmm.
Ted, we are talking about the Minnesota Wild and the Colorado Avalanche, and Mick Fleury. Actually, he's been the starter at times, but they've been leaning more on Gustafson. And
it's shared.
Yeah,
it's turned into a legit platoon. Philip Gustafson has actually been outplaying Marc-Andre Fleury.
Right. With those stats, you got to ride that hot hand since he's also coming off a Star of the Week performance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, LA has now killed off 2 penalties tonight, by the way.
Yes. Tom McClellan was about ready to rip a ref's head off for the second one. But so I will say that in this series, I'm going to give this one to, I'm going to say it'll go to, I'll say Colorado. I think it'll be close. I think it'll actually go 7, and I think it'll be a fight to the very bitter end. I still think Colorado edges it out by a very small sliver, and it'll set them up for a really rough semifinal in the next round.
Ditto. You said it well. You said everything I was thinking.
Guys, the Colorado goes through them like
it was Kismic, Maddie. It's Kismic.
all that being said, Minnesota is not going to be able to beat Colorado in the playoffs. Don't see it. I think it's going to be Colorado beats them easily. I think.
So are you saying sweep or 5, Brad?
5.
5. Okay.
Yeah, I think Minnesota will get a game. We'll get game 3, and then that'll be it.
Bobby, just out of curiosity, before we move on real quick, can you pull up their season series real quick for me?
Sure.
You know where to look for that stuff. I just want to know what their season series was real quick because I got a funny feeling that y'all be a little surprised by this.
Hey, listen, I have a 7-game series. I don't have them blown.
That's fine. Minnesota's not as much of a walk in the park as a lot of people think. They're a very underappreciated team in this league. Just because they don't have, they're still a very good hockey team. And again, Colorado is coming off a very much hurt season. They've lost 2 big pieces in the offseason. Their goaltending situation is not great.
It wasn't great last year either, though.
I'd still take Darcy Kemper over Georgiev.
Now, would you, though?
I would. Absolutely.
I don't think Kemper is all that good either, to be honest with you.
He's not.
After watching him Sunday, I think he was. I don't think he was very good at all on Sunday. And I said, and he played against the Rangers a couple of weeks ago with the Garden. The Rangers put 4 on him.
He's a very overpaid goaltender.
Why is only 1 game coming up for this? Well, Wild beat the Avalanche 4-2 on March 29th. The last meeting.
They're very sneaky under the radar team. And a lot of people are going to overlook that. Just because Colorado won the cup last year. Colorado should have won the cup a few times and they never did. Here we go.
That's true. You're right about that.
Fuck.
Ted was saying that number 26 on the Oilers was nailing the same guy with his stick over and over. Bet he won't get in trouble.
Oh, it's actually even.
Yeah. I just got it up there.
Yeah, it's 3-3. Haha.
So we might be looking at.
Oh, sorry, Matty. I was going to say they're all 1-goal affairs, but they're not.
But still, though, that lends credence to it being a 7-game tilt.
Absolutely. Yeah. The most recent one, and Calgary just got a goal back. It looks like, was it Uyghur or was it Huberdeau? But, Colorado lost the last one, 4-2. They won the last 2 before that, 3-2 and 6-3. Minnesota won the 2 before that, 4-1 and 3-2. And Colorado won the first meeting this year, 4-3. So relatively close games for the most part. Minnesota has really been right there with them the entire way. So this is going to make for an incredible series.
It definitely will. Definitely something to look forward to there in the 2-3 match in the Central. All right, then. So, gents, one last question before we wrap up the West. We talked about the East, the top 2 teams, who's most likely to go on, who we think could get out of their division and be in the Eastern Conference Finals. So now we will flip-flop this to the West between Dallas and Vegas. Which one of these 2 teams, if any, do we think gets out of their division to get to the Western Conference Finals?
Dallas.
I agree, Dallas as well. Just focusing on the goaltending situation real quick. Now, had, Logan Thompson, maintained his health, not necessitating, Vegas to go out and get Jonathan Quick, right? I like the way that young kid was playing, man, and it could have been just the goaltender they needed to take the place of Reimer and vault them back into at least the Western Conference Finals, if not the Stanley Cup Finals themselves. But Dallas has a clear advantage here in Jake Oettinger. 247 goals against, 917 save percentage. Aren't lighting the world on fire, but he's been steady all year long. 33 wins on the season. Dallas just has the complete, all 3 phases of the game. That's actually who I have as my pick for the West.
I'm actually going to go ahead and say Vegas.
Okay.
It's going to be if that winds up being the Western Conference Finals, I think it's going to be a great series because 2 great teams that can play defense, that can score goals. But I like Bruce Cassidy as a head coach. I think his system works. This Vegas team is a team that absolutely we thought were going to fall flat on their face this year. They really haven't. They've been playing really, really good. Jack Eichel's finally getting back to being Jack Eichel. That's gonna be huge come playoff time. for them, and just the experience that Vegas has as far as just guys on their team. You know, Mark Stone has had injury problems, so if they can get him back for the playoffs, that's going to be huge for them moving forward too. I know they got like, I don't know what, 6 captains on that roster, so that locker room is going to be. It's going to be the place where you want to be. They're going to know how to keep you calm, poised, and moving on. With Dallas, you know, this is going to be, again, another similar style of play series for them, for either team. So, I mean, you can really go either way. I'm just playing devil's advocate because I know most of y'all are going to pick Dallas, so I'm going to take Vegas.
I can't say that Vegas doesn't have a shot. They absolutely do. Out of the two, I would say, you know, the thing that really is the challenge for Dallas is in the tougher of the two divisions, at least in terms of the two opponents they would have to draw, because Minnesota is not going to be a fun team to go up against if they manage to beat Colorado. Colorado won't be a fun team either. But, you know, we may possibly end up being Vegas and Dallas in the Western Conference Finals. I hate to say it. It may possibly happen that way, only because if LA or Edmonton, no matter who wins that, Vegas can beat both of those teams. So it may very well wind up being Dallas and Vegas representing the Western Conference Finals.
A good defensive team can beat either one of those teams. And I'm talking about Edmonton, of course, and Colorado. A real good defensive team can stop them.
I agree, because that's all Edmonton is. They're all offense.
Yeah.
If you can shut down Draisaitl and McDavid at least a couple of those games, your odds of winning that series are pretty good.
0-3 on the power play in the first period for LA. That's
right. Yeah, LA stopped them.
Something. Yeah, all 3 times.
Who's starting in net for LA?
I think it's Korpisalo.
Yeah, it is. And Campbell is playing for Minnesota. Not Minnesota. What am I saying? Edmonton.
It's Skinner.
I'm like falling asleep. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's way past your bedtime.
Yes.
It's all right. This was
past
the last.
My bedtime too.
It's okay, guys. That was the last question for the Western picture, so that's done now. So, gents, we move on. It's time for OT, so that means it's time for the shootout to wrap this sucker up. And OT brought to you by Alonzi Travel. If you ever have a vacation spot that you've been looking at for a while, you've been eyeing it up and down, and you've been wanting to make plans for it, but, you know, with your job and with life, it's hard to actually plan for a vacation because you just got so much going on. Well, guess what? Alonzi Travel can take care of all that for you. All you got to do is tell them, hey, listen, this is where I want to go. This is the time I want to go in. Can you make that happen? And they will, because they specialize in creating the vacation of your dreams, whether it be a Disney, Universal, whatever your heart calls to. Let their team of travel experts create a custom vacation for you. All you have to do is just worry about packing and then getting on the plane. That's all you got to worry about. They'll take care of all the other minutia that you don't really have time for because you're so busy, and that's why you're going on vacation in the first place. Alonzi Travel. They'll take care of it all for you. All right, gents.
Real quick.
Shootout time. We go. Yeah.
Real quick. For Alonzi.
Yep.
Hit up Trucks Moranin, Andy Ritz. Both guys who understand and know that Disney park like nobody else. So hit those guys up.
Correct. Let both those gentlemen take care of you. And check out their shows, too.
Absolutely.
All right,
His very ring just had a great weekend with WrestleMania. And then Eagles offseason. Go check out Birds of a Feather every Thursday night. And before that, why don't you just go hang out with Marcus Thomas, former Eagle, on Pro Fam Talk. Thursday,
Right.
7. Yeah, 7 and 9:30, respectively, for those shows.
Well, there you go. Perfect. It's all here, folks. It's all here on A2D Radio. Okay, then. To the shootout we go. And it is time for us to throw out Player of the Week. Robbie, I think you should start this one off, my man, since you gave a little teaser to the audience.
All right. Yeah, talking about Leon Draisaitl, man. Like I said, in case you just tuning in, maybe catching us on the late night side, he's just doing things that we haven't seen since Super Mario and the Great One. Last week alone, he potted 5 goals, which was tied actually with Pasta for most of the NHL. But he got his 300th career goal. He got his 50th goal of the season, like Brian said, for the 3rd time in his career now. And he had his 29th power play goal, to Brad's point about them being so lethal on the power play. But Leon Draisaitl's 29th power play goal, that's the most by any player since Mario Lemieux's 31 in 1995-96. I read that stat today. I was like, are you kidding me? Wow.
That's unbelievable.
Right.
That's more than Kreider Kreider had 27 power play goals last year.
Right, which is nothing to shake a stick at.
No, but I mean, it seemed like he was every goal the Rangers scored on the power play was Kreider. That's why it's so impressive to see that he actually had more than that.
Right.
And that's why when the Penguins lost to the Panthers in that playoffs that year, everyone was literally completely shocked, just shitting bricks, stunned that they got eliminated.
Right. And now that the Oilers have clinched a playoff spot, right? Talking, looking forward in terms of projecting Draisaitl's performance. Well, he's got 1.59 points per game in the postseason, which is number 1 among active players and 3rd all time to Mario Lemieux's 1.61 and Wayne Gretzky's 1.84.
Holy shit!
1.84.
I mean, this. Should we
almost
call
2
him
points a game in the playoffs for Gretzky?
Against the best teams.
Right.
You know what? I mean, honestly, you know how we call Gretzky the great one? Should we just call Connor McDavid the new one? Like seriously, this guy's unbelievable at this point.
Unreal. Yeah. My player of the week doesn't matter now. There's no topping that.
No.
Well, Pasta had a good week. I almost let Pasta. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He definitely
Bazzi,
did. And actually,
we talked about Bazzi earlier. He had a great week last week as well. Stopping 99 of 100 shots. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't.
Vasilevsky was unbelievable last week. As you said, 99 out of 100 shots he stopped. 3-0 last week.
Yeah.
That's pretty darn impressive. Jesus Christ.
You know what?
One goal in 3 games. My God, are you serious?
No, you know what this is? I know for a fact Tampa's going to go on a run. You want to know why? That's him warming up. He's just warming up for the playoffs. That's all he's doing. That's him just working out, getting his reps in because he's going to carry the Lightning again.
Toronto is going to have to put up with this again.
Man, Calgary's about to lose.
Oh my God.
Calgary should be ashamed of themselves.
Well, they had 2 very, very massive turnovers that led to 2-on-1s that both led to goals, unfortunately. So they shot themselves in the foot in this one.
Yep.
Yeah, so my player of the week was Vasilevsky. Brad, what was yours?
Vasilevsky.
Bri, who was your player of the week, even if you said it doesn't matter?
For me, it doesn't matter, but let's say Pasta.
Okay.
Just to be different.
Okay.
He had a
so
pretty good week, too.
We move on from player of the week. Let's go to all right, upset of the week. Gentlemen, who do we got as the big upset?
So before we answer, how I want to clarify this is what team has been the biggest upset? Although I know we kind of answered all the questions earlier because I think Ted asked who we thought were the biggest disappointments, but I mean we can go over it again for upset of the week.
I mean, upset wise, I will say, I mean, you kind of have to give a little bit of a nod to Buffalo. for just not packing it in and saying, well, we had a good run. They definitely didn't do that. So, I mean, you kind of have to give them a little bit of credit for that.
They also lost tonight in a big game.
They did lose,
which
though,
they do every time.
unfortunately.
Every time it matters. Every time it looks like they're out of it, they're resilient. When they have their backs to the wall, they come back and win. But as soon as it matters, they lose.
Oh.
They win just enough to keep you interested. That's about it.
Yep.
Calgary almost just tied it.
Oh.
I mean,
Good.
let's be honest here. That's between the two
they do.
choices. You can either choose to be tortured for the rest of choose to be a Buffalo fan. Most people will rather be tortured for the rest of their life. Most people would choose between that. So, who else wants to throw out their upset of the week?
I mean, if it keeps going like this, I think the Chicago team is going to pull my upset of the week.
Right.
How about Florida winning in Toronto last week?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a big win for Panthers there. That's right. I watched some of that game.
Yeah, that to me that was
impressive performance.
That was the shocking upset of the week. That was Alex Lyon having an unbelievable game because what's his name? Bobrovsky was sick that night.
Right.
Lyon came in and was spectacular.
Nice.
I don't mean to rub it in, Flyer fans. I'm just stating facts. That's all.
Sure you are.
Hey, I'm Mr. Switzerland. We don't.
Yeah, that's right.
We're not stirring the pot here.
I see.
He would look good though as a backup goalie for the Flyers right now. No?
Now, you know how Ted was saying. Ted was saying how we were going to have Rad Brad. No. It's Mr. Switzerland. We're changing that T-shirt design.
And ironically, you could still use the same picture.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
It still works. Hit the slopes.
We just put a white cross at the top.
Well, I'll answer both angles with the same answer. Columbus Blue Jackets. I talked about it before being my biggest disappointment, but a lot of other people chiming in was saying it was the Ottawa Senators. Well, the Blue Jackets beat the Senators in overtime last week. Ottawa really needed to have that game. That was huge upset.
Oh, Chicago almost won right there. Big icing with 11.6 left. This is going to be a huge upset for Calgary. This is definitely going to be my choice right here. Calgary needs the win to keep their playoff hopes alive and to lose to probably the worst team in the NHL right now. 4-3 off of costly turnovers. Just heartbreaking for Flames fans. I'm probably not going to talk to Dylan for a couple of days so he can
get over it.
Yeah.
Well, they look like they're in desperation, but they almost had that one.
And that's the game. That's my upset of the week right there. Chicago Blackhawks over the Calgary Flames 4-3 in regulation.
Well, this just makes the game against Winnipeg that much more important now.
And that makes that 1 point from Nashville earlier that much more important for their playoff lives.
Correct. Yes, as they are showing on ESPN right now.
Wow, he makes some saves at the end of this game.
Yes.
Wait, you have the game over already?
The Chicago game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, because I have 26 seconds to go still. I'm way behind you.
Haha, I'm faster. Not always a good thing, guys. Not always a good thing.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Ted saying Brian's got to be happy. Ducks are in a 3-way tie with the Hawks, Columbus for the worst record.
I'm not happy about that. I want a playoff berth. I want to compete for the cup. I'm tired of watching losing hockey.
What, you don't want Connor Bedard?
I mean, I'd rather have a Stanley Cup than Connor Bedard.
Maybe you could have both.
I would love to have both. I mean, obviously, I would take both, but
Yeah, you may end up with both. Who
I
knows?
could. Yeah, I mean, if we wind up with Bedard, I'm not going to be upset, but I'd rather be playing meaningful hockey right now instead of trying to figure out who the hell is going to get the number 1 overall pick.
All right, gents. So one more, and that is, of course, the hot take of the week. Gentlemen, who would like to start out the final part of the shootout?
I'll do it.
All right, Brad.
Okay. Hot take of the week is Florida sneaks in for the
Okay.
7-hole.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
So the 7th seed.
7-hole. Let's make. I mean, I'm assuming they're going to beat the Penguins. Let's make it really fun and say they're going to sneak into the 7-hole, and the Islanders are going to get stuck in the 8-hole.
Okay.
Get
And
the
no
Bruins.
Penguins. Yeah, and then they'll have to, and then they'll beat the Bruins.
Yeah. Cool. Help everybody out.
Yeah.
Take one for the team.
Yeah, there you go.
So besides that sacrifice that is necessary to the hockey gods, I will go here. I will say my hot take of the week will be that, unfortunately, I will see the fucking Devils will go on a run to the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't want to see it. I really fucking don't, but I have a horrible feeling in the pit of my gut. It's going to fucking happen. There's not a damn thing I can do. Because that's what fucking happens when those that's what happens when those sons of bitches make the playoffs. See, when they make the playoffs, it can't be a miserable experience for their fans. No, they got to go on runs. I'm like, you know what? Fuck you, Devils. Fuck you and whatever horse you fucking rode in on, you pieces of trash, you fucking cocksuckers. Go die in a fucking hole. All you Devils fans deserve nothing but misery, you fucking assholes. Fuck you and your fucking piece of shit team that should have never existed. Fuck you all. Yes, I hate the New Jersey Devils. I hate them so fucking much.
That's a fucking hot take right there.
Yeah, because he's hot.
Yeah.
I should be. Why? Because the Devils don't deserve to be better. Fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck them and fuck them right in the ass. Fuck them in the ass. Make it as painful as possible. Fuck you all. Simple as that.
Sodomy? Really?
That's what the Devils deserve? Do they not?
Sodomy is the devil's work, yeah. Sure.
Right. Sure. With a rusty fucking spike, too, on top of it.
Sure.
And no spit.
Yes.
Cool.
None whatsoever. No
raw dog?
Yes.
Damn. That's cold-blooded. Damn.
And no pillow to bite on either.
Oof. Oof. That's worse than San Quentin. Rikers, damn.
I'm going to stay on Maddie's good side. Jeez Louise.
That's all right. You're not a Devils fan. You're good.
I'm still want to stay on your good side because apparently it's nasty on the bad side. So I'm gonna stay on this side of the line.
I'm a ginger. What do you expect?
Yeah.
Anyway.
You don't have a soul, so it's all good, I guess.
Right.
My hot take of the week. I'm going to continue off of what I said last week, and I still think, despite this loss, Calgary still finds a way to wind up in the playoffs in the 8 seed. I don't think they get to 7 seed. I think Seattle's pretty much got that locked up. But I still think Calgary figures out a way because they're still only 2 points back. Winnipeg does have a game in hand, but I still think Calgary finds a way to find their way to the playoffs.
I just can't believe they lost to the Blackhawks.
Shot themselves
We're
in the
trying
foot,
to
man.
lose games.
Bad turnovers.
I mean, I shouldn't talk. The Rangers lost to them too at home, but I mean that was in December.
Ooh, hey,
Before the All-Star break.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't down the stretch a crucial game. I mean, that's not championship hockey there.
No, like I said, they were pretty bad turnovers on Calgary's end. Like I said, it led to two on ones more times than not are going to lead to a goal. So they screwed themselves on that game. It's not like Chicago came out and just beat them. Calgary lost.
Yeah, they did. Okay, so did everybody go?
I'll throw one out there. I don't really have. I had one prepared, but Buffalo kind of fucked me tonight by not winning tonight. So I'm gonna go off the board real quick outside the hockey world. And if anybody out there follows Paige Sporanic on social media, you could really see a show, just to put it like, child friendly. Lately, like she is just pushing the envelope with her body in terms of marketing for people to follow her for her sports picks and her social media presence. So my hot take for this week is that Paige Sporanic will follow in the footsteps of Mandy Sachs, no longer Mandy Rose, and either be on OnlyFans or her own fan page in a month. Get your charge cards ready.
You know what's funny?
And your Vaseline.
Oh, gosh.
On that note,
Yeah, seriously. She actually gets on my nerves. I don't like her. She's just another epitome. She's the epitome of hot girls get jobs in sports just because she's gorgeous. Like that's exactly what it is.
She literally tries to shake her boobs as much as possible to get people to stop and watch her videos on Twitter. Like it's so obnoxious, and she doesn't even hide it.
No, she doesn't.
I'm like, to each your own, I'm not trying to shame her. I'm just saying. Pretty soon I'm going to see all of her. I'm just saying.
I'm not shaming her either, but there's some women out there that actually deserve the jobs that they have, and I don't think she's one of them.
No, you're
like
right.
I used to follow her. I just don't get it. I don't see it. She has her job because she's hot. And I don't really think she's that hot. I think she's like a 7.5.
Yeah. She has a horse mouth. I mean, I can't talk shit. We did vote her hot female athlete of the week back in the day, if you recall.
I do. And deservingly so. I mean, apparently she can't even play golf anymore because her boobs are too big.
Yeah. I can see that. How do you?
She's using it as an excuse because she just wasn't good enough.
I gotta time. She gave herself such a boob job that she physically cannot play the sport she's known for.
No, those are natural breasts.
Those
fake.
are natural.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering. It's like, wait a minute, did she give herself a boob job to where she couldn't play anymore? Because that's the funniest damn thing I've ever heard. If that's the case, that's like porn star levels, right there.
If she's giving herself a boob job, like that is absolutely so impressive that she can put herself out and still give herself a boob job. That's great. That's awesome. Well, like I'm going through her Instagram right now, and like I don't get it. I don't see it. Like all she's pretty much doing in a lot of these is just posing with a golf club, like she is on the LPGA or something. Like she's not doing it.
Right.
Or she's just wearing something skimpy. Like it's just to me, it's a joke. She's holding up jobs for other more qualified people just because she's an attractive woman. This shit gets on my nerves. I'm sorry.
No. I feel you, brother. I feel you. I'm not saying I disagree.
Like if you guys, it gets on my nerves.
Well, Ted was saying, so you wanted to use code words, keep it family friendly, then mention OnlyFans. You did it, Robbie.
Yeah, I guess that was a contradiction of terms, eh?
I mean,
but,
in your defense, I'm going to say this: you can use OnlyFans for a lot of things.
Oh yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be in a sexual manner.
If kids out there know what OnlyFans is, I didn't ruin them. They already done ruin themselves. All right.
Well,
Yep.
I mean, let's be honest. A kid who has access to the internet and the parents aren't paying attention, they've already ruined. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
That innocence is long gone.
I'm no better. I was that guy stealing the videotapes from, from like hidden up in the attic or whatever of like Jenna Jameson or freaking Chase Zane. I ain't too proud. I ain't saying.
Yeah. Never mind. I would steal my brother's.
Hey, listen, still respectful, understandable decision right there.
What's even better is I stole one of my brother's magazines, stuck it under my bed. My mom found said magazine, and I didn't get in trouble for it.
Your brother did. Oh
Yep.
my god, that is great. Oh, that's great. On that note of absolutely getting caught red-handed but still getting away with it, I think it's time for us to round this one off, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So we thank everybody for joining us once again. For all the regulars out there, thank you very much for tuning in. And for all the new ones, thank you as well. Enjoy having you guys here and chatting up some hockey with you. And boy, oh boy, is it going to get very exciting. Tonight was pretty exciting with some big games that happened. But April 17th, as you mentioned earlier on in the show there, Bri, it is upon us. The playoffs are almost here. I'm about ready to start freaking scratching like a fiend because I need playoff hockey right now. I need hockey that has meaningfulness to it because I've been dealing with a terrible season.
Hey,
So
the bandwagon's open. Matt, bandwagon's open.
I am not joining the Rangers bandwagon. I'm sorry, Brad. I appreciate you opening the door for me, but I will slam that shut. Sorry. Oh, man. If I'm going to join any bandwagon, I'll actually join Seattle. You want to know why? Because bravo to that team. Second year in the league, and they actually managed to make the playoffs. Good for them. Good for them. But anyway.
Rangers won the Stanley Cup their first year in the league, by the way.
Yeah, when there was how many teams in the league?
6.
When there were dinosaurs on the planet.
Yes.
They've seriously been around that long.
It was 27-28.
Boy, that was so long ago.
That was the wait a minute. Was that when Hoover was president? Or was that when
no, but Ottawa's name were called the Millionaires and not the Senators.
Oh my god, it was really that long ago? Holy shit.
And the Montreal Maroons were in the league too.
Jesus, the Maroons were still around by that point? Holy shit. Oh, wow. All right, then. Shows you how old the Rangers are. Okay, so.
Bada boom.
Yeah. We thank everybody for joining us, and we will see you guys next week. And I do believe we have one more live reaction to do before the Flyers season is officially over. And that is, one more, and it is Columbus. Huh, how fitting. Really crappy team versus another crappy team. Here we go. This should be fun. All right.
Yeah, it'll be fun. But April 17th is when the NHL Stanley Cup Playoffs start. Let's go. 2 Tuesdays from now.
Yes. It'll be very exciting, folks. And on the 18th, we will definitely be, ironically, the show the same day as tax day. So hopefully you got your taxes filed. But we'll be doing our playoff predictions during that show. So, might be. We'll probably do it then because we might not even have the spot solidified by next show. I mean, anyway,
my taxes are filed. I just have to pay them. I just need money to pay them. I owe everybody under the fucking sun right now money, and it's ridiculous.
Best not to say that on air. The IRS might be watching.
They know where to find me. I'll pay them eventually. It's just a matter of when.
All right, guys.
You can't take blood from a stone.
No, you can't. I can't give you money if I don't have it.
Oh, all right, guys. We'll see you next week right here on the Hockey Happy Hour. One more Flyers game to go. We'll see you next week for it. Until then, peace and love, everyone.